It's game time, Detroit, and you found the right place for the latest Detroit Lions news. So hop on in and take the ride to Super Bowl 60 with Rocked On Detroit Lions. Join Will Rock, Eric Rintamaki, and Riley O'Brien today on the Rise and Grind Morning Show. Good morning.
1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2. Mic check. Hey, can y'all hear me out there? Hey. Against all odds. 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 Against all odds.
The podcast.
Shout out to Rock on the Detroit Lions, man. One pride.
Oh boy, it is Friday, everybody. It's the Friday kickoff show to the weekend. We had one game last night. And, man, it was a power-packed game. It was a great game between the Cowboys and the Eagles. I think both teams showed up and showed out, and now we're just ready to watch what our Lions are going to do on Sunday. We're going to talk about all that today. We're going to try to get into the receiver and edge rankings, but if we don't, we don't. If we do, we do. Eric's got to get off early today, but we're going to try to sneak in those two segments if we can. But today we definitely want to talk about what's happening this weekend for the Detroit Lions, kind of go into some of the keys of the game, and let's get prepared. So we didn't get to finish it on Wednesday night. We're going to try to finish it between today and possibly tonight, making sure that we get everything set for the weekend. So welcome in this morning to the Rise and Grind Morning Show. Appreciate you guys hitting us up every single morning. Let's get right into it. Here we go. At some point. Here we go.
Pressured by Hutchinson. He goes down again.
It's Friday, gentlemen. What's happening?
Good morning. I am so pumped up. I cannot wait for Sunday. I'm all ready. Got my Davenport jersey. I'm ready to go. Got something else too.
Yeah, these are the I used to dream of these days during this off season. Man, let's just get to that Friday, 2 days before the game, and here we are. And Eric's got the cheese grater ready to go. And how about that intro, man? We know that Will's got a lot of strengths, but dude, that intro was. How could you not be juiced up being here this morning? That was awesome. So good to see everybody. Happy Friday.
8 takes later, and I thought I did a decent job, but it's not done. That's just the beginning. Unfortunately, I have echo today. Hopefully, you guys don't have echo, but I've got this new wireless system, and I'm getting some sort of an echo today. I'll have to deal with it. Hopefully, you guys don't have it. So you just let us know in the chat if there's anything going on. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to deal with it for the day. Most importantly today, I want to walk through kind of the kickoff. You know, I did a kickoff Wednesday, had to end it. Obviously, didn't get to finish a lot of it. We'll kind of go through some of that today. We'll attempt to get into the wide receiver and the edge. I know that's what you guys mostly prepared for the day. But let's talk about last night.
Yeah.
That was, you want to talk about a 12 to 15 round fight. Like Parsons said this week, that was a 12 to 15 round fight last night. Those guys were edgy. They were heated. Hate started the game. And that's where I'm going to start. Thank goodness, Brad Holmes. Jaylen Carter is not a Detroit Lion. How on earth? First of all, I'll say this. Spitting in somebody, or spitting on somebody, or in their face, it doesn't matter where it landed. Spitting on somebody is probably the most disgusting, distasteful, nasty thing that you could do. The most disrespectful thing that you could do to somebody. Not only that, I mean, it is a crime, honestly. I don't know that anyone's going to press charges, but it is a crime. You know, in today's world, if you were to spit on someone, that unwanted contact carries a misdemeanor. If you spit in someone's eye, it could go all the way up to a felony because now you've introduced whatever you have in your body into their body, right? So why on earth would you do something like that? I get, Eric, you're going to bring us through, a little bit back and forth here with what Prescott said, after the game. So let's do that. And then let's talk about it for just a brief second. And then I'm just going to thank Brad again. Thank you. Right? Thank you. I love the hat, by the way.
Yeah, I see everybody smiling this morning. I love it. So after the game, Dak Prescott did a press conference, and he talked about this whole spitting incident. And apparently, before this spitting incident happened, they were going back and forth before the first play somehow while this other player is injured on the field. And they're going back and forth, yapping at each other. Carter and the new right guard, Tyler Booker. And this is what Dak Prescott had to say. I probably spit 1,000 times throughout the game. I mean, especially game day, maybe even in general, and something I guess I'm not proud of. But in that case, Carter was trolling, I guess you could say, trying to mess with Cowboys right guard Tyler Booker. I was just looking at him. I was right here by the two linemen, and I guess I needed to spit. And I wasn't going to spit on my lineman, and I just spit ahead. I would say he was back there, and he was in that sense, and he goes, "Are you trying to spit on me?" At that point, I mean, I felt like he was insulting me. I wouldn't spit on somebody. I'm damn sure not trying to spit on you. We're about to play a game. I'm wondering why you're trying to mess with the rookie. And so when I stepped through, I actually said the words like, "Why the hell would I?" And then, "Excuse me, but I'm probably even more colorful. What would I need to spit on you for?" And then he just spit on me in that moment. It was more of a surprise than anything. Refs obviously saw it and threw the flag. I was like, hell yeah, we get 15 yards to start the game off. Didn't realize he was getting ejected. Unfortunate that he did. He's a hell of a ball player. It changed our plan and our blocking scheme. As I've told you before, the week that we're going to protect against him. So it helped in that manner. I don't wish for anybody to get out of the game. I'm sure he probably regrets that to some extent. I'm pretty sure he knows that I didn't try to spit on him or wasn't even aiming to spit on him. And that's from Dak Prescott himself.
So I didn't see Dak Prescott, or I call him Prescott.
Yep.
I didn't see him spit at all, period. I just saw the two jawing at each other, and then
Carter, that part came out after.
Carter spit on him. Yeah, but Prescott, or Prescott, however you want to pronounce his name, whether he was spitting on the ground, players do that all game long.
Yes.
I spit 100 times while I'm on the show some days. It is what it is. There's nothing wrong with it, but spitting directly in front of someone, you're going to hit them. Right? Your spit sprays 5-6 feet anyway. That's why usually, you aim at the ground or whatever, but even doing it in public, I try not to do it, but just disrespectful, man. Obviously, the Eagles didn't need Carter last night. Had they had Carter, I don't know if the game would have changed a whole lot. I don't know why they would have changed their game plan. You removed a bunch of practice reps out of this for getting ready for the Eagles. Cowboys look good. I think throughout the game, they started off really good. They just couldn't finish last night. Riley, what's your thoughts on this whole Spitgate?
Yeah, so obviously my sister Sky is a huge Cowboys fan, and she was texting me during the game. She said, did you see Jaylen Carter spit on Dak? I said, yeah, that actually is. I said, that's one of the guys that insanely, supremely talented, got all the God-given ability in the world, but that's why the Lions didn't draft him. And of course, that was kind of the common theme on Twitter last night, is everyone saying, "Oh, I'm so glad we don't have him." And I that's the last thing you want to have. Of course, I do think of, it wasn't that long ago when Dan Campbell was chewing out Jameson Williams on the sideline, for about 8 to 10 seconds. And it was like, okay, that was it. And I think it was a game against the Bears, and Jameson apologized after. It's just stuff that you have to, the best competitors, I feel like, you never know if they're ahead by 30 or down by 30. They're just very even kill. You can't let your emotions get the best of you. And what if that was a game where, it was a playoff game? It wasn't just a season opening game. And obviously Philadelphia went on to win the game. But just at the start of the game, and you just spit on another human being. Yeah, that wasn't on the bingo card for me. Did not expect to see that. But yeah, it's something where these guys got to be professionals, right? And it's easier said than done, but you just can't do stuff like that. You can't be the one apologizing after saying, my bad, guys. I shouldn't. You should know going into the game, you got to be there for your teammates and for the fans. And so I think it was a big surprise for sure, but hopefully we don't see anything like that out of Detroit. But I am happy that that's not a player that the Lions have.
So, I mean, outside of, Jaylen Carter's physical abilities, I mean, clearly he's one of the best defensive tackles in the league. It's the mental ability that is far superior in this game in making sure that you're locked in and not doing stupid stuff. And Ndamukong Suh, as good as he was for the Detroit Lions, did some real stupid stuff and cost some games for the Lions throughout his tenure, 4 or 5 seasons, whatever it was with the Lions. I'm not saying that Jaylen Carter's anywhere near the type of player that Suh was, but I could see it. I mean, I could definitely see him developing into as dominant as Ndamukong Suh was. I think that Jaylen Carter can definitely get there. They're built very similarly, but that mental game, man, I think they're 2 peas in a pod. You can't do stupid stuff. The thing that I said about Jameson Williams last year when he was doing the little humpy hump dance, in the Commanders game after he scored a TD, and I said how stupid that was, that you were about to get a 15-yard penalty, costing your team in a game that you were already having trouble in. And what did Amon-Ra St. Brown say about that this year? He highlighted that in one of his interviews where he said that was a play that I never want to see again from Jameson Williams, and that he immediately went over and tried to get him to stop because it was about to get penalized. So it's that type of maturity that or lack thereof that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes do not want on this team. Celebrate. Absolutely do your sellies, but be smart, right? And then there's this stuff. It's not even a question. Shouldn't have happened.
It begs the question, if a Detroit Lions player did that, spit on another player, what would the repercussion be? Makes you wonder.
It makes you wonder. Would he be suspended by the Lions? Would he be cut the next day? I mean, I don't know. I think Dan Campbell's a little bit forgiving. At least, the first or second thing that happens. I mean, they've been extremely forgiving with JMO, and now JMO's turned out to be an extremely well-respected individual this season. So
that's a great point.
Thank goodness that he was a little bit forgiving, right? And I won't go deep off into the whole thing with that. But 80%, 81% of you this morning say that you're glad that you don't have Jaylen Carter. So, hey, I guess I'm in with you with the 80% there. Let's move on to Ford Field for a moment. So the Detroit Lions have done something that was a request that I also put in this last season. With Megan having this gluten allergy, and everywhere you go in Ford Field, there was nowhere to get anything gluten-free. There was nowhere to get anything to eat, if you had any sort of an allergy. And a matter of fact, she'll probably kill me for bringing this up, but when she was at the preseason game with one of her friends, she went to go get a burger. And she said, look, I can't have the bun. Can you just make me a burger without the bun? And they're like, no. Well, I have an allergy. I can't have the bun. Nope. You got to take it the way it is. Take the bun off. Well, I don't think you understand that means gluten is still on the burger. Like, can I just have a burger with no bun? Just make it without the bun. Throw it in a bag without the bun. They wouldn't do it. And then another employee heard that, and they're like, what are you doing? Like, you're intentionally going to give somebody an allergy. You can't do that. You need to listen to this person, and we need to take care of him. Went and took care of Megan and made sure it got done. But now they're stepping up to do some things about that. So I did send in a message, right after I heard about the situation, because I've never heard, something like that happening at the Lions, that they weren't willing to at least help you with something. Now, I know they won't give you an extra cup or an extra popcorn bucket because they count them all, I guess. But at least now the Lions bringing in some new food for game day. So they have the made-to-order ice cream bars, which I did notice when I was there for the Lions loyalty event. There was this little refrigerated cart or whatever you want to call it. They had all the ice cream bars in it. I'm like, ooh, do we get those today? But we didn't. I was tempted to just go over there and snake one to see what it was all about. But they got the Roar Berry, sweet and salty, and then we want some more. So there's some new ice cream. There's also a new wrap by, this is at the Lions Levi preview, new food offerings for Ford Field this season. New jerk chicken and mango wrap. I love mango for some reason. I always do a mango salsa every year, but it's from Breadless. So these can be found in the Delta Club levels, 302 General Concessions and 119. They also have the faux brisket sandwich. So it's a brisket wrap. It looks like a brisket sandwich with some faux dip, which if you've ever had faux broth, man, this stuff is so good.
Mm-hmm.
They also have a new Coney flight. So multiple different styles of a Coney dog. And it looks like there's 4 dogs in it. Can't really tell by the picture, but let me read it. There are the pickled onion, there's the spicy honey mustard, the crispy shallot with brown spicy mustard, and the classic green onion and Dijon mustard. I'm not a big hot dog person. I love hot dogs, but I'm just not a big hot dog person anymore. There's also the Jahmyr Gibbs Spin Dash Combo Pizza Smash Burger. This can be found in sections 100 and 120. That is the first thing I'm getting on opening night. I'm not going to eat before the game. We're not doing a tailgate for the first game because it's going to be crazy as it is. So I'm going to go straight to there. I'm going to get me a Gibbs Smash Burger. What else do they have? Oh, there's a few other things in here, but there's some new drinks of the game. If you're consuming that day, they have a blueberry smash. There's a blazing apple. There's a roaring Rory, and then there's a no pack no, which is a green drink, and then there's a Motor City Mule. Now, why didn't they just go a little bit further with that? We almost had the Motor City Mullet. You were one L and a couple of T's away here. Motors, you had it. Lions, so you had it.
I got a little something about that.
Okay.
Someone said that they got an autograph from our second round pick, and he signed the Motor City Mullet right on their hat.
There you go, buddy. There you go. You heard it here first. Motor City Mullet. He's been put away for a little bit, but he will forever live on. You
got to get a bunch of us get those out, and we'll all wear them to the game. We all got to sit together.
I'll put up the link where you guys can buy it, and then if you guys want to, we'll give some away too. We'll give some mullets away. Well, we got to get the whole mullet crew together. Let's just do that. We'll get everyone together. They also have some Berea beef, Texas toast. They have some grilled queso sliders. They have an olive and whipped feta platter. I wouldn't mind trying that. I like Kalamata olives. So they have some Market Deli Sammys. And then they also have a kids meal that comes in a little Lions kids meal box. Pretty good stuff, man. Sliders, hot dogs, ice cream, queso, pita. I mean, it's all new. It looks great. And I'm glad they're stepping it up, because when we've gone to other stadiums, what is the one thing you probably always say?
Their food's awesome.
Why do we have this in Detroit? Especially when I went out to the San Fran game, like I was blown away by the food they had there.
Yeah. San Fran had good food. Minnesota had good food. The Colts had good food. Every stadium I've been to has had a better food than the Lions. So this is nice to see.
I was going to ask, with you guys in your experiences at Ford Field, I was going to say, has it been a letdown? It sounds like it has.
It's always Little Caesars pizza, burgers, and hot dogs. That's it.
Yeah. Well, it's all revamped now. That sounds like it,
I like it.
All right, injury report. Derek, do you have the injury report pulled up by chance?
I do right now. Did not practice for the second day in a row yesterday was Trevor Nowaski and Sione Vaki. Those two have not practiced all week. And then a new name on the injury report for Thursday was Jamarco Jones, and he was limited with an ankle injury. Isaac Tesla is getting over an illness. He was once again limited. And then Keoti Owasaka was a full practice after being limited with a shoulder on Wednesday.
Here's the prediction for this. Jamarco will be in the game. Tesla will be in the game. Coyote Owasco will be in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor Nowatzki and Sione Vaki, those are the two to watch. The only concern that I have is the depth at linebacker with Trevor Nowatzki. Obviously, these guys are going to get a lot of snaps this weekend. Being the first game, genuinely you would see a little bit more rotation. If you're down some guys are going to play some extra snaps. I'm really, 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 really hoping and banking on Kelvin Shepherd to use these guys in a manner that preserves them, not only just for the game into the fourth quarter, but for the season. They don't need to go 95 snaps. They're going to tell you they can go 100, right? They're going to tell you they can go 100%. You've got to be the one that backs them down and forces the issue to keep them out a play or two. There was something that I don't know who it was that I was speaking with the other day. Or who said it the other day. My mind escapes me. I don't know who said it, but here's what they said. The pitch count on defensive players. Back in high school, again, I don't remember who said this, but as a coach in high school, they were saying that the injury typically happens when you have players that are playing more than 6 snaps in a row. So for a guy like Davenport, do you really want him out there playing 4, 5, 6 snaps in a row to start a season? Probably not. You're going to want to get him in there on first and second down, get him out on third, right? Especially if it's going to be a passing down, get him out on third. If they go for it on a fourth down and it could be a short down, put him back in on fourth. So if they get, first down on first down and they go 2 more downs and get another first down, they never get to a third down for the first possession, you're going to want to get them out of the game by the 5th snap, most likely the 4th snap. Have them go 3, pull them out for 4. Put them in for 3, pull them out for the 4th. If you can. Obviously, when players exit the field, offenses key in on that. And they're going to go tempo, they're going to go hurry up, they're going to go no huddle, whatever it is to lock those guys in so that, you can't get another player onto the field. I'm hoping that they utilize that. And that they play that way because the analytics are there that the injury propensity raises much, much higher when a player is on the field for more than 6 snaps. And again, I don't remember who said. Was it all 22 yesterday? God, my mind is terrible. It was all 22.
Yeah, I think that's what came to my mind. I was thinking, of course, I'm sure you're always talking football with everybody, even when we're not on the show, but I think it makes sense. And the great point and the challenge of it is, like you said, Will, that the player is going to tell you he's good. He's going to tell you he can keep playing. So you're right. It's incumbent on Kelvin Shepherd and the coaching staff to say, nope, like remove the emotion from it and stick to a plan.
Absolutely. It was all 22 yesterday. I slept. See, I slept. So that's what happens. On the Green Bay side of the football, Zane Anderson. These guys are all limited. Besides Jordan Love is a full participant, but everybody is limited. And you know who's not on the list? I'm sorry, still on the list. I mean, Micah Parsons is still on there, is limited. The fact that he's limited tells me if he's limited today, he's going to play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not expecting anything less. Let's talk about Micah Parsons for just a moment. I don't know how many of you saw the interview with Micah Parsons yesterday. Eric, what did he have to say about the Detroit Lions? Do you have the exact quote?
Let's get her up here. So Micah Parsons disses Lions before the Packers debut. He said, "I'm excited to play them." Parsons said, it is quoted by the Detroit Free Press. And then he goes on to say, "I never liked Detroit. I never liked them even when I was in Dallas." That was his quote. And then he goes on to say, "It was just always a heavyweight fight every time they came in. They kind of got our guys when I was injured last year. The whole team was injured. That fight turned into a knockout blow the last time the two sides met, and the Detroit Lions beat the Cowboys 47-9 in a Week 6 blowout, even after losing Aiden Hutchinson in the third quarter."
Dude, come on. Like, To say that your whole team was injured, that's a
Yeah.
lie. They only had a couple of guys out. And he happened to be one of them. Now, what he was saying about it's a 12 to 15 round, fight, right?
Yeah.
He's at least given the Lions some credit to say that this is a tough team. That when you go to play the Lions, you expect for the Lions to give you everything that they have. Parsons has only been in the league for 4 seasons. So all he knows is the 2021 Lions forward. That's all he knows. He doesn't know the Lions of the past. So he's expecting now when we get, it's going to be even more different for him that we get to see him twice a year. And that game is going to be even harder and even tougher, right? Since it's a divisional opponent. Riley, what did you want to add to that?
I think he's pandering to the audience, right?
Yeah.
It's the adrenaline's high, the emotion's high. You just got traded. Look, if he had been traded to Detroit, he'd be saying, "Man, this is where I wanted to be. I'm on the opposite side of Hutch. I've always envisioned playing for Lions." It's just like WWF or WCW wrestling, when they turn heel. That's kind of how I see it. Obviously, that type of thing can piss people off in Detroit, while it makes people in Green Bay, be like, yeah, he's truly one of us by blood, and it all leads into this huge showdown on Sunday. That's fine. You don't like Detroit? No problem, man. That's just fine. I don't think any of us should be losing any sleep over that. And I think, but for what it's worth, somebody like Aiden Hutchinson, Dan Campbell, yeah, like they'll put that in their back pocket and hang on to it. Why not?
Look, whether you love us or you hate us, we're going to come knock you in the mouth either way.
Right.
It's just the way that the Lions are. That's the way that we play. Matter of fact, there was one of our newbies, Avante Maddox. This was highlighted on St. Brown podcast. They were talking about Avante Maddox the other day and how Avante said, "You guys go live? You guys go live hitting in practice? Like, no way. There just ain't no way. This would never happen in Philly. We would never do live hitting." And then Davenport, I guess, took Gibbs out on a play, like completely clipped the dude. And just like Gibbs always does, popped up like nothing happened. And Avante said, "Man, that would have never flown with Saquon Barkley." And so what this tells us, and the immediate reaction that I had to this, I think it was Mike Payton that put it up that I responded to on Twitter. I said, so does this speak to the Lions maybe practicing too hard? Does this speak to the Lions having too many injuries because we're practicing too hard? I hate to even venture down that road because back when I played football, it was live hitting 2-a-days. Like there was no breaks. There was no pansy-ass football playing. You know what I mean? It didn't exist. And it really shouldn't exist today. Obviously, the rules have changed a lot. And they're trying to protect the players. And I'm sure that Dan Campbell's trying to protect his players too. But if we're one of the only teams out there that's really doing live hitting drills in training camp and scrimmages, maybe there's a reason for that. And so what I would like to do is somehow find out which teams are doing live hitting. How much live hitting are they doing? How many injuries did they face in the season versus the Lions? And I'm not saying Dan Campbell's doing anything wrong because I'd rather have these guys ready. Like if I were a coach, I'd rather have their bodies hardened before week 1 and that they're not soft. What you hear a lot from other coaches around the league is they'll say, "Man, yeah, it's just week 1. These guys got to go out and hit." And it kind of makes you think, well, is that coach speak? No, he's literally telling you they got to go hit because they haven't hit yet. It takes a few weeks to get your body hardened for the season. And that's where injuries start to creep in. That's where injuries start is in week 1 because you just got hit for the first time or you just hit somebody for the first time. So I like that Dan Campbell does it, but to what extent does he do it too much? That's the question, right? That's the question that only he can answer. Good, just a couple minutes left. We tried to get to 75 before 8:30. It's 8:31. If you guys want to jam on the like button, we'll get the ads turned off. So our next goal is going to be 75%. before 8:45, and then if we're not there, then we have to leave them on. And I don't want to remind every day. It's just a given. Most of you are in. The same people are in every single day. Help your fellow Lions fans out so they don't have to watch ads. I will always dial the ads back, no matter what. I always try to dial the ads back. I just have to do what YouTube wants me to do so that this channel is in front of people too. Okay, let's move on. We did the injury report. Lions storylines headed into the weekend. Dan Skipper. So I don't know how much this has really been discussed. Why is Dan Skipper missing from practice? Have either of you caught this story?
I haven't heard anything about this. Nothing. Zero.
I have not either. Not in your text message this morning was the first.
Yeah, I thought you made a mistake. I thought you were talking about Jamarco Jones.
No, I caught something this morning. Now I'm trying to find it now.
Because on anything official I can find, it doesn't say anything about Skipper whatsoever.
Well, he's not on the injury report. So that's key. He's not on the injury report, right?
Yep, nothing.
Okay, Dan Skipper, the veteran offensive tackle on the practice squad, was not spotted at Tuesday's practice. Graham Glasgow was practicing, and the Lions are not concerned about his status headed into week 1. So Glasgow should be fine. This was September 2. That was Detroit Free Press. We go to MLive. Somewhere I read this morning, I should have clipped it. I should have taken a screenshot, but it was 5:30 and I was moving quick.
Let me see if I can find anything on it here on Twitter.
I just want to know why he's not at practice. Like, what, is he been there all week? Has he not been there all week? Like, what's the story here? Now I get it. He's on the practice squad. Like, immediately I was thinking, is he pissed off that he's not on the 53? That's what came to mind to me. Like, is there something? Is he disgruntled about something? Did someone poach him? Is he protected? I don't know. That's what I would love to know too. Is I don't think we've ever seen a practice squad from any of the beat writers or anyone that covers the team that says these guys are protected. I'll know who the vets are. You can have up to 6 vets, right? Who's protected? Which guys are protected every week? I would love to know that. I've never seen that. I've never seen that printed before. So
That's
any of you that are listening this morning, please print something that if you know who's protected, that would be helpful information so that we can kind of follow the storyline all season.
I do see this, Will, to give some credence to what you are saying. Jeremy Reisman did post yesterday. Jamarco Jones added to the injury report, which is not ideal for Detroit's offensive line depth. He also notes, I have not seen Dan Skipper at practice this week either.
Okay, so there it is.
So you're right. Yep.
So, he could have something personal going on. Could. It happens. Trust me. We know. We get it.
Yep.
But that's a little concerning, man. Skip is a valuable commodity to this team. He really is. I'm glad that he's back. Let's move forward.
Sure.
How about this one, man? I'm going to give Carlos Monarrez the Branch treatment.
Ugh.
And then I want to talk about Branch for just a moment, too. So Carlos Monarrez yesterday, I guess, put out an article saying that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes' seats could get hot if the Lions flop again. When did we flop the first time?
Yeah.
Can someone answer that for me? When did we flop the first time?
Now, if we were to go 6-11 this year and just shit the bed, and then next year start out 1-6, then okay, then they'd be on the hot seat. But until then, they ain't going nowhere. They're not on any kind of hot seat.
There is anything you want to add to that, Riley?
Ridiculous.
No, there's just an analogy that comes to my mind is being at like a jazz concert and then somebody starts playing a heavy metal rock and roll song. It's like you're just trying too hard to stick out. 3-4 years ago, if you would say the Lions win 15 games in a regular season, then you would say that coach could have whatever amount of money he wants for as many years as he wants. And same with the GM. And 3 days before the season starts, after a 15-win season, you put out an article saying, might be on the hot. I don't think so. They're not invincible, but yeah, he's doing a shtick and he's getting talked about, which I guess it really is his objective, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess all publicity is good publicity, as they say. All publicity is good publicity. So for the people that love to talk smack about me or this channel, thank you. Thank you. Because, you're putting it out there. However, there's a right and a wrong way to do it.
Carlos was clickbait before there was clickbait.
Well, exactly. And I would say that, like Riley said, the shtick, right? He's doing a shtick. It's trying to stick out. It's trying to be noticed when everybody else in Detroit that writes about this team has far surpassed Menarez. He's been around for a long time, right? It was Menarez and O'Hara, right? O'Hara was always respected. Menarez was it was like the oil and water.
Yeah.
Those two. But Menarez, man, has always been one to just trash the Lions. Always. He is the leader of the SOL fan base. He absolutely is. So I'm going to give him the double olive branch this morning. Piss off, man. Like there's just no way that these guys are going to, there's no way that these guys are going to be on the hot seat. They can lose this season extremely bad. Like you said, go 6-11.
Yep.
They could lose it that bad. Their seat's not even warm.
Nope.
Now, there's going to be some talking tos, I'm sure. There's going to be some changes, I'm sure. But those guys wouldn't be going anywhere. They resurrected this team. I think that you're allowed to have one gimme. And then the next year, like what happened in 2022, when Sheila had to come to the mic and say, yeah, I trust my guys. I trust the process. We expect certain things to happen. We do have a standard. I can't remember exactly everything that she was talking about, but essentially saying they're going nowhere. And then what happened? Immediately, I think it was that weekend we won.
Yep.
And then we never really looked back. We went 8-2 to finish the season. So, and then the next year we end up in the NFC Championship game. So had the seat been hot and those guys left then, we wouldn't have realized what we have now. It wouldn't have happened. Goff would have been shipped off for sure. That would have been the first move.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows? Who knows what anybody else, what other players would have been left on this team?
You always have to look at those things too. Like, okay, if you're suggesting the coach and GM are going to get canned, who are you going to bring in? If you're going to trade Jared Goff, who's going to be the quarterback? That's the other angle of it. That's the other side of the coin too. And I just can't imagine Sheila sitting there in her office and thinking now's the time to pull the plug. We just got done hearing Brad Holmes concede that now maybe the draft strategy starts to morph and evolve and change, and they don't take as many developmental players. Why would you pull the plug on that now? Senseless. Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense.
I like Art's comment in here. He says, the take is as lazy as these national pundits saying that the Lions are going to regress. Oh, so we aren't going to go 15-2. Great investigative journalism. Exactly. We may not go 15-2. Well, my first take was 15-2. 14-3 is really good. 13-4 is really good. That's a tough season.
Yep.
12-5 is really good. I'd be happy with any of those three numbers this year. I think
I'll take 12-5 if we go back to an NFC Championship game. I'll take 12-5.
Yeah. Win the NFC North again. 12. Yeah. If 12 wins is what it takes, I'll take it.
I don't care if we win the North or not at 12-5. As long as we make it to the NFC Championship game, I'm happy.
And have a shot, right? You want to obviously we want to go to the Super Bowl this year.
I just want that shot again to be 17 minutes from a Super Bowl. Just give it to us one more time, and I guarantee it's not going to be what it was last time.
You know, Amon-Ra made some comments yesterday too, which brought me back to a couple of months ago. Will, it was a Friday, invited me to come on the show. He had it all lined up. 15 reasons why it's a all in for the Lions. And we went, and it coincides perfectly with what Amon-Ra said. He's like, all of our skill guys, we're going to be back. It's not, we kind of feel like it's all in this year. It's not really. And that's a perfect spot to be in. There's no pressure. If the Lions don't win the Super Bowl this year, depending on how the season goes, or is it a failure if you don't win it all? I mean, I think the Lions are at that point where it's, you're not just happy to be there. But I asked Tim Brandon, I asked all 22, I could ask you guys, is this the best roster top to bottom you've ever seen? I could ask the chat. I think it's almost a unanimous yes. And that could be true even if it doesn't equate to 15 wins. The mission is so simple with this team this year. Go win the Super Bowl.
I think the mission is it's known, it's understood. You could say it's simple, right? It is what it is. The players aren't talking about it outwardly. They know what the plan is. You've seen that come to life when Amon-Ra St. Brown and Penei Sewell were on the St. Brown podcast. And the first thing, one of the first things that Penei Sewell said was, we know what this year's all about. We know there's a different plan this year. There's a bigger plan. There's bigger stuff that's going to happen. And I'm expecting it. I'm really expecting it this year. We got about a half hour before Eric has to go. I want to read a reply that I sent to somebody last night because I saw, I don't know who this individual is. Where are my replies? How do I find it? The statement was, again, it was about edge. And since we're going to talk about edge for a moment, the statement was, I can't even find my reply, that the Lions have plenty of cap space. They should have brought Parsons in or somebody else. And I'm like, please tell me where we have cap space. If right now, when you look at 2026 and you're $36 million upside down right now, or 32, whatever that number is, and you have yet to sign your rookies, that's 12 million. So now you're 48 million upside down. You have 5 guys that you're going to potentially re-sign next year. Potentially, you don't have to. Let's just call that 50 million. Like that is, how do I say that? I mean, that's not even close to the number as to what it should be, but that's including some signing bonuses and some base pay and some other things if it changes. But at a minimum, the signing bonus. So you had 50 million. So now you're 98 million upside down. Well, then you got to get Aiden done at some point between now and then. And if you do it now, it counts next year. So that signing bonus is going to come off of this year, which would also obviously carry over to next season. Let's just say he gets a $50 million signing bonus. Just call it another $10 million a year. So now you're 108 upside down. What about JMO? That's probably another $30 million signing bonus. Call that another $6, $7, $8 million coming off every season. So where are we at now? 116 upside down? Okay. Let's just do let's just call it an even 120 that we're upside down, which is probably pretty safe. Oh, you have 13 more guys you have to add to the roster because we only have 38 signed, so you need 38 more. That's a minimum of 13 million. So now we're going to call it 130. We'll go 130. Okay, we plan on 30 million to hit the cap. Right? The cap's going to go up probably another 30. So now you're at 100 million upside down. Where's the rest of that money coming from? How are you going to get back underneath the cap before the new league year? Where's 100 million coming from? Jared Goff? Okay, you could probably restructure 30 of it. Amon-Ra, Penei Sewell, their contracts haven't even hit yet. And you're going to restructure them in the first year, which you pay a penalty for, by the way. It's near impossible. So no, the Lions don't have a bunch of cap space. So if they were to roll 40 over plus the 30, that is potentially going to be added to the cap. That's 70 off the 130. You're still 60 million upside down. They could probably do enough to somehow clean up 60 million. That's a lot. We've seen it done before, but you're going to lose some players, and they're going to be some big names. Taylor Decker comes to mind. First one that comes to mind would be Taylor Decker.
I'm wondering if this is his last season anyway.
Could be.
And I just have to wonder, because he's under contract for what, 1 or 2 more seasons?
I don't remember. I know he just got a 2 or 3 year extension.
Yeah, I think he's got 2 more years on his deal, but I just don't see him playing the whole thing out. I see especially if the Lions were to win a Super Bowl, I don't think there's any running it back. He's the longest tenured Lion. The guy's been a Warrior. He's been around forever. And I think the Lions have proactively been trying to find his replacement with Manu. And if you had to ask me right now what the Lions are going to draft in the first round next year, it's a left tackle.
Oh, for sure. Riley, what were you going to say? I just found my reply.
Yeah, no, I think that you brought it to a culmination point there, and then Eric, you're right. I mean, it could be Decker's last year, but if it is, it almost seems like that'd be kind of his choice. If the Lions brought in Parsons right now, it adds pressure because we all can't be here. It's like a car that sits 5 people and there's 7 people, and people start looking around like, okay, who's going to be out? That changes the dynamic of the team. Yes, he's talented, but does his talent make that much of a difference to where people start, now if you're Brian Branch, if you're JMO, this is my last year in Detroit. That's not a certainty right now. And so I think that the way that the roster has been set up, I don't know that it could be done any better than Brad Holmes has done it to this point.
Without a doubt, dude. It's clearly the best roster. All right, we're going to get into some real stuff now. Enough filler talk, but here's the reply. I said the Lions did not have cap space. Please look at 2026. Currently negative 32 million. They will have 13 players to add to fill out the top 51. That counts towards the cap. Being generous, let's go with a $1.5 million average for low-end bottom feeders on the roster. So that's now a negative hit of 19.5 million. Then add another, I don't know what I was writing there. Then add another negative hit of 50 million per year, which is super light estimate for signing 5 studs not named Hutch or JMO, not inclusive of signing bonuses or anything else. So then add a huge signing bonus of at least 60 million for Hutch, which is a negative hit of about 12 million per season, plus base, plus other. Then add another signing bonus for JMO of 30 million, which is a negative hit of 6 million or more per year, plus base, plus other. Then minus 12 million per year for signing rookies each year. That's assuming that we finish, up near the top or win the Super Bowl. Lastly, add a $30 million to the cap, bringing it to 310 million for 2026. If my head math is right, that leaves us negative cap of 101.5 million. With additional base salaries for the top paid guys on this roster getting extended. Who are we losing? How many are we not extending? Tell me again how we have cap. Well, it's all cap, meaning it doesn't exist. And for people that don't pay attention, which a lot of people don't, that's just what they see. They see or hear the number. Oh, we have 48 million bucks. Lions can sign anybody. We're good. You're right. We are good. We could absolutely go all in this year. And if we fail, cash it in. It's done. The sustained success is over. You heard Gruden. If you didn't listen to Gruden the other day, he was kind of trolling and at the same time trying to tell you how it works, talking about Green Bay and how they've always done draft and develop, draft and develop, draft and develop. Same thing for Detroit, draft and develop. That's what we do. That's the plan. That's what works. But then he went out on a limb and said, well, screw all that. Now Green Bay is going all in with Micah Parsons. So they didn't finish the draft and develop, right? They didn't finish it. What's going to happen now? What's going to happen now if the Packers don't win it this year? You're banking on Jordan Love. Jordan Love, you're banking on this dude that has not proven his worth yet to even be worth $50 million. You're banking on this guy to win you a Super Bowl? You don't even have a wide receiver room. Everyone's hurt. It was a bad move. They should have brought in a wide receiver, is what they should have done. What did you guys just add to the chat here?
I'd actually just sent you and Eric a text that as a tweet and a stat I saw last night that went right along with what you're saying there. Just the whole draft and develop.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead. Extend it. What do you?
I posted that last night and got so many comments that I was wrong about that tweet, saying that since 2021, the Lions have drafted 16 All-Pro or Pro Bowl players.
We haven't, though.
Yeah, we have.
16 All-Pro players?
All-Pro or Pro Bowl nominated players.
Nominated or actually made it? I think the number's 7.
More than
that.
Pro Bowl or
Amon-Ra's got it multiple times.
Who?
Amon-Ra's got it multiple times. You had Sam Laporta go to a Pro Bowl.
Are you counting
Kirby
each?
Joseph
Are you
was an
counting
All-Pro.
each year? Or are you just counting the fact that they've gone once?
Yeah, I think they're counting each one. And listen, if you go and look at the Vikings, the Bears, and the Packers, they have 0.
Yeah, that's the crux of it, right? Is the Lions just have, since Brad Holmes took over, you have a really good drafting GM. And those are still good teams. The Packers, the Bears, and Vikings are good teams. It's a brutal division, but just falling in line with the draft and develop, there's a reason the Lions have won this thing the last 2 years. And hopefully we'll do it again here for 3. Go for the 3-peat with the NFC North.
Yeah, and when I posted that, apparently reading comprehension isn't that much of a thing with Packer, Viking, and Bears fans, because they all got on and listed all their Pro Bowl players from the last 3 years or 4 years. And I'm like, none of those were drafted by you guys during these years.
So I just want to clarify. Okay, so we drafted Jahmyr Gibbs in 2023.
Yep.
2 Pro Bowls. All right. Sam Laporta drafted in 23, 1 Pro Bowl.
Yep.
Brian Branch, 1 Pro Bowl, 24. All pro selections, first team only that we have drafted. Penei Sewell.
Yep.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. Khalif Raymond, I think, was second team.
But he wasn't drafted by us.
Right, but he wasn't drafted.
Kirby
was an all-pro, but no Pro Bowl. So you have 3 there.
And Penei's made multiple Pro Bowls, hasn't he?
Laporta.
And he's been an All-Pro multiple times.
I think he's only been All-Pro once, hasn't he?
Oh, only once? I don't know.
I would have to dig into it, but I thought when I did the numbers prior to this year, it was 7 players that we drafted. I didn't go by the number of Pro Bowls and All Pros made, because that doesn't matter. I go by the players, the number of players that we drafted.
Still, that's 7 to nothing to nothing to nothing. None for the Vikings, none for the Packers, none for the Bears that have been drafted since 2021 have made a Pro Bowl or an All-Pro. And Brad Holmes is just a master drafter that no one talks about. And the reason we're having all these financial issues is because we draft too well. If he didn't draft so well, we wouldn't have all these huge giant contracts.
Yeah. Not as many mouths to feed. And the way to look at it too would be, you see it all the time, hits and misses in drafts. And if you go look at Wikipedia, draft history, it's like, man, these guys passed on this player for so-and-so, and that guy's not even in the league anymore. If they redid the 2021 draft, Penei Sewell undoubtedly would go higher than, where'd the Lions get him? 7, 8? I mean, he would go higher.
Yep.
Every first round pick the Lions have had, Gibbs, would probably go higher than where the Lions got him. And then everybody in the second round and beyond, a bunch of those guys would be first rounders.
It's crazy to think that anyone would even doubt Brad Holmes.
Yeah, missed on Hooker, right?
Well, I think the most important thing to add, or the most important context for me to add to this would be, okay, look at the players you drafted, right? Multiple players that have been Pro Bowl, All Pro. Now, we don't care about the Pro Bowl, right? It's just you've been voted by the large community of fans and the team, or the teams, your peers to make that team, which means you're one of the best, or the top 100. We have, 7 or 8 players, whatever it is in the top 100. But it's not just the players that we're drafting either. It's also some of the players that we're bringing in through free agency that are also, top of the game, while they're here with the Lions. Anyway, we'll step off of that. Let's get into Edge for a moment. I know you've only got about 15 minutes. We're going to do our hard in, hard out real quick. And then we're going to get it rolling. It's game time, Detroit, and you found the right place for the latest Detroit Lions news. So hop on in and take the ride to Super Bowl 60 with Rocked On Detroit Lions. Join Will Rock, Eric Rintamaki, and Riley O'Brien today on the Rise and Grind Morning Show. Good morning. All right, let's dig into Edge. I'm just gonna do away with wide receiver for right now. I think that all of us know and understand who's at the top. You can do your 1 through 4 real quick. Lions are at the top for me. Bears are probably going to be right around number 2 for me. Packers, they're injured, so I don't know where to put them. I'll put the Vikings at number 3, the Packers at number 4. That's where I'm at. So it's going to go Lions, Vikings, Bears, Packers. That's where I'm at.
I would have to be about the same because I didn't have time to dive into the Edge this morning or last night. I had everything done for the wide receivers.
Oh, yeah, defense was the second most important thing this week.
Yeah.
But we can talk about Edge for just a moment. Let me pull up my notes.
Yeah.
Riley, anything you want to add while I'm pulling this up?
No, I'm kind of right there with Eric. I guess just gravitated towards the offensive side of the ball here. But no, I know you've got a wealth of knowledge here on the Edge, and this is a topic that you're very passionate about. We all are, man. Like it's something we're passionate about. So let's just roll the discussion here and rock with it.
Well, I think that there's a big change this year, which is Micah Parsons being added to the NFC North. So now you have competition for the best edge or outside linebacker. We don't know where he's going to play yet in the NFC North. Who's it going to be? Is Aiden going to retain what he was doing last year? Is he going to stay at the top of his game? Or is Micah Parsons now going to be the new face of the NFC North? I hate even saying that because Aiden has worked so hard to be where he is today. And he has done so much for this team in a little bit of time. I mean, 2.5 seasons is not a lot of time. He's going to be somebody, that is going to compete every single season at the top of the list. So that's where I'll start. Detroit Lions, Aiden Hutchinson. 2024 was absurd, right? I'm not going to go down the negative hole, but yes, he had some easy matchups to begin the season. You still have to finish, right? And Aiden finished 7.5 sacks in 5 games, or 4.5 games before his injury. 25% pressure rate, one of the best in the league. Through that span. Obviously, he has elite hand usage, high motor, great bending even better this year, according to Calvin Shepard. He can rush from the wide 9, or he can kick inside. You can use him just about anywhere across the defensive front. For 2025, if he's fully healthy, I think he's going to end up as a top 3 defensive player of the year candidate. Comeback player of the year potential, right? If he finishes top 3 as a defensive player of the year candidate, he will win comeback player of the year. That's a lock. Marcus Davenport, 2024 stats weren't much because he only played in 2 games, but 2 sacks in, just a couple of games, injury shortened year, really good season started for him. But it's more, when you hear Calvin Shepard, speak, or Dan Campbell speak about this guy, like Dan said the other day, Marcus has nothing else to prove to me. Now he just has to go and stay healthy and stay on the field. We know what he's going to do. We know what type of football player he is. And I know from watching the tape and seeing the evolution last season of Aiden Hutchinson with Marcus on the field, I don't know really of a better 2 together that can do so much damage as long as they're both on the field. His traits, obviously, he does have an explosive first step for being a bigger guy. Durability is obviously a little bit of a concern, but it's his bull rush. It's the way that he plays with pad level. Marcus is different. He's just a different style of an end. We have the big end, that's Marcus. You have the speed end, that's Aiden. Combined, these guys are a nightmare for any offense. If I were to give a grade, you have, Hutchinson alone would be enough. And I think that people forget that. And often you hear a lot of fans say, we need more. We need another. We need, edge. Do you guys forget that we have Aiden? And most teams out there don't have an Aiden. Most teams out there don't have even a Montez Sweat. And he's nowhere near the type of player that Aiden is. Micah Parsons, Green Bay. We don't know. Well, we don't know. He's coming from a 3-4 defense, going into a 4-3-4-2 hybrid defense. Where is he going to play? Are they going to keep him as an outside linebacker? Are they going to switch up and do, some 3-4? We don't know. So until we see on Sunday, if he's in the game, what the outlook for him is going to be, we just don't know. I think he's too small to be up on the line all the time and put his hand in the dirt. I think he's going to be up. I think he's going to be off ball. I think he's going to be more in the wide 9. Or he's going to be back playing outside linebacker, which if you look at what Minnesota does, then I don't think that there's an issue with that. I think that, Minnesota's obviously been able to capitalize on utilizing, Van Ginkel and, hold on, I just got to get my other sheet open. Utilizing Van Ginkel as an outside linebacker, but putting him all over the field. Where's my other sheet?
There was one thing while you're pulling that up that Jordan Love evidently made some predictions. He was asked yesterday in a press conference with the media, and I think he said that he's calling it now that Parsons gets a sack on their first defensive drive on Sunday. So looking forward to seeing that.
You have yet to beat Aiden or to beat Penei Sewell.
Yeah, where's the confidence coming from? It's one thing to just hype up a teammate like I'm calling it now, but bro, are you thinking this through?
What'd you say, Eric?
Oh, just not a chance.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. All right, so for the Packers, though, with Micah Parsons, you now are lining him up with Rashawn Gary. So the exercise today was supposed to be the top 2 edge or outside linebackers, and kind of go through who, what team has the best tandem or the best edge room, if you will, with just the top 2. Or if it's a 3-4 type defense, or it's actually a way different defense than 3-4 with Minnesota. What do their outside linebackers look like compared to our guys? So Micah Parsons, he had 19.9% pressure rate over the last 2 seasons. League leader. So there's a difference with having a 25% rate in 4.5 games and then someone that's doing it for 2 seasons at 19.9% is insane. Obviously, he's a hybrid chess piece. We know that you can move him around everywhere. His traits, he rushes from the edge. Obviously, he's a mugged linebacker or a wide 9, which I think is exactly where he's going to stick with Green Bay. Defensive Player of the Year favorite this year. Plus 500 was the last odds that I had seen. Rashawn Gary, 2024 stats, eight sacks, 15 quarterback hits. That's a really good year. And when you look at the edge position from, all views here, I think a lot of Lions fans are begging for too much and saying that you need a guy on the other side of Aiden that can do what Aiden does. It's impossible. Not a lot of guys have double-digit sacks in this league. It's few and far between that they do. And to have two guys do it, even less so. If it's a linebacker and an edge, I could understand that. If it's two linebackers, I could understand that. But having two guys up on the defensive line getting 10-plus sacks a season just doesn't happen a whole lot. So I'm not going to put those guys in a box, but I do believe with what this new defense for the Detroit Lions is going to look like, that they're going to be able to produce even more. Rashawn Gary, again, power rusher, elite leverage, bull rush, is really good. He's given the Lions fits over the years. His outlook, if he stays fully healthy, he's entering his prime now. So now you have two guys that are both entering their prime. Obviously, Micah Parsons has stayed, at the top. And the fact that he's now getting into the fifth year or fourth year of his career, he knows a lot more, right? He's used to this stuff. Probably the most disruptive duo right now would be Parsons and Gary by most metrics or analytics, but that's not where I'm going with this. Absolutely not. Minnesota, Van Ginkel. What a huge pickup. Let me get something up here. He had an incredible year last year in Minnesota, as expected. 11.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 2 interceptions, 50 tackles. That's a crazy year.
Yeah.
Crazy year. High motor, versatile in 3-4 or 4-3. He's kind of that veteran glue guy for Minnesota. And then you have Jonathan Greenard.
Both those guys were Pro Bowlers last year. That Van Ginkel, man, I'll never forget. He had that dropped, would have been a pick in the playoff or Week 18 game.
Mm-hmm.
That dude's awesome, dude. Van Ginkel, he's one of the guys that's like, man, I'd love to see him with the Lions. But
see, Minnesota's different, man, because they have ends and they have the outside linebackers, and you're getting solid play from all of them. You can't discredit Blake Cashman. You can't discredit Ivan Pace. Van Ginkel on the Sam side, Jonathan Greenard on the Will side. Then you have Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen up on the line. I mean, holy shit.
Dallas Turner.
Yeah.
And he's the backup.
Yeah.
He's the backup.
He was a first round pick last year,
Right.
and
he was 17 overall or something like that.
Yeah. And we were bummed because we wanted him. I remember being at Ford Field and we wanted him, and we ended up taking Terry and Arnold. And I really think that Dallas Turner is going to turn into something.
Oh, he will. He absolutely will. He was one of my highest graded defensive ends last year. Before the draft, based on my sheet, which I don't have that in front of me. Chicago Bears, they have Montez Sweat, Deo Odebingo. I think the Chicago Bears, I mean, they've added some guys this year, but I'm just doing cliff notes today. I'm not going to dive deep. We're running out of time.
I'd be so curious to ask our guys like Thor Nystrom and Jason Harmon with Minnesota. Like, do people in their fan base clamor and constantly claim, man, we need to go get another, as many superstars on defense, bring in as much talent as you can, right? But part of what makes football so brilliant is the beauty of the supplement of all the players. Not everybody can be the superstar, right? And so I think, as you're talking about with Minnesota, they complement each other really, really well. And I think Detroit does as well. We'll hopefully see that come to fruition. But you were with Chicago.
So last season, if you take a look at the pass rush win rates, run stops, all that good stuff ESPN puts out, the pass rush win rate rankings, you had Minnesota, Jonathan Greenard ranked 10th overall. And
he wasn't with the Vikings last year, though.
And that's well, I'm saying that's it. That's the only player in the NFC North currently today that was ranked in the top 10. Defensive tackle pass rush win rate doesn't really matter to us right now. Edge run stop win rate. Rashawn Gary was number 1 overall. That's why they kept him. Jonathan Greenard was number 4. Defensive tackle run stop win rate. Green Bay was number 1 with TJ Slayton. So the Lions were nowhere on these lists. The Bears were nowhere on these lists. The Vikings had a couple of players, on these lists. Aiden obviously wasn't on this list because he didn't play enough snaps. I mean, he was at the top, but you can't count a guy with 4.5 games. You can't. You have no idea what he would have done the next 5 games. At the end of the day, here's the way I see this. Minnesota is your number 1 overall room right now, today, to start week 1. I don't think that they're going to finish there, but they are your number 1 room. It's the same exact thing I said last season, and it's because of the fact that they have so many chess pieces. Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave on the ends, and Andrew Van Ginkel, Jonathan Greenard on the outside linebackers, or, in an outside linebacker role. Dallas Turner backing those guys up. There is not a better room put together, especially when you take a look at the inside linebacker position too. Ivan Pace was one of the best in his rookie season. I think he was the best in his rookie season. There's just not another room that is that well put together. Would you guys agree or disagree?
You could almost put Minnesota Vikings at number 1.
That's what I just did.
Yeah. I mean, why not? Until proven otherwise, they have a really good defense, and everyone forgets about that just because JJ McCarthy is, basically a rookie quarterback this year.
Exactly.
We can't forget they had one heck of a defense.
I mean, obviously the Lions were able to manhandle it, in that Week 18 game, but that was still a tough game.
But the first game, I mean, we won by a field goal.
Right. It's a tough game. Tough team. I will put your Lions at number 2. Until I see Micah Parsons on the field and how he fits with this team, the fact that they lost Kenny Clark, I do believe that is going to cause some issues for them. I think that their room and the rotation is not as deep as it is for the Lions right now. But I will put the Lions at 2. I'm going to put the Packers at 3, and I'm going to put the Bears at 4. Eric, give us your rundown, and then anything else you want to add today before you have to leave.
Yeah, so whoops. My ears went out for a second. All right. So I asked my assistant to look some stuff up for me and give me a prediction of what is going to happen this year in the NFC North for our edge rushing duos. And the duo they picked as number 1 was Aiden Hutchinson and Marcus Davenport. And the 2025 projection for the Lions edge rusher group is poised to be the best in the division. Hutchinson, he might get Defensive Player of the Year and Comeback Player of the Year. And until I see otherwise, I'm picking the Lions at number 1, and then Green Bay Packers at number 2 because of Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary. But Parsons has got to prove it to me first. I haven't seen anything out of Parsons, which for me would slip them down to number 2 or number 3.
I thought you just had Minnesota at number 1.
No. I'm saying this is what my assistant came up with.
Gotcha.
That they have the Lions at 1, the Packers at 2, and then 3, the Minnesota Vikings. But I myself, for right now, I would move Minnesota up to 1, the Lions to 2, the Packers to 3, and then Chicago Bears down at number 4. Montez Sweat and Deo O, that combination does not scare me like the other ones in the division. And I do have to go. So I'll see you guys all in a week. See you guys later.
All right, buddy. We'll see you. It's game time, Detroit, and you found the right place for the latest Detroit Lions news. So hop on in and take the ride to Super Bowl 60 with Rocked On Detroit Lions. Join Will Rock, Eric Rintamaki, and Riley O'Brien today on the Rise and Grind Morning Show. Good morning. Two, and then there was two of us, Riley.
Hey man, we're rocking and rolling. We'll keep it moving forward.
All right, so Eric will be off next week. He is traveling to Denver.
Colorado.
You got what's that beeping noise? You got something beeping on your side?
My dog's like hyperactive today. She's shaking her and her leash is on. So this is ringing, but
it sounds like a bell. All right, so the AI assistant, I think the same one that Eric brought up. They did have the Packers at 1, Lions at 2, Vikings at 3, Bears at 4. Simply saying that Parsons and Gary is a top pressure duo. Hutchinson is elite. Davenport is a wild card. Greenard and Van Ginkel equal reliable versatility. And then Sweat needs to bounce back. Odeyingbo is still very raw. I do like Odeyingbo. He is one of the players that was on my watch list in the offseason to be a free agent pickup by the Lions. Clearly, the Bears snaked him first, and I'm not saying that the Lions are going to even venture down that road, but he is somebody to pay attention to. Without a doubt, I think Odey is going to have some days this year. He's going to be a damn good football player. So your edge rankings for me, unfortunately, it's very similar to last season. I said that the Vikings were going to be number 1 last year, but they were not going to finish number 1. I expected the Lions to overtake that room. Injuries obviously crushed us. So we never had a chance. We never had a chance to be able to prove what we could do. This year is different. It's still the Vikings to lead the group this year, and then it's going to be the Lions that are going to show us what would have happened last season had everybody stayed healthy. The Bears, I don't have confidence in. They have a new scheme. They have new coaches, which is not an excuse, but you also have, some new guys into the room that we have not seen together. That's why I have them at 4. And the Packers, they're a wild card this year. They could easily be the best room. Easily. They could easily be number 2. Parsons has to stay healthy, but he's not healthy at the moment. It's going to take one shot, the wrong shot from Penei Sewell, and, Parsons could be down for a minute. So I don't know who said that Parsons was going to have a sack on the first play.
Jordan Love.
I would rather bet that Penei Sewell puts Parsons down for the season on the first play. Put him down, man. Just put him down. And I don't mean in a, negative way, like illegal way, like what happened to Davenport last year, but just in a way of just manhandling the guy.
Just in a way of, like you alluded to earlier when Sewell was on with the St. Brown's podcast, just saying, like, we know what it's about this year. So week 1, Lambeau Field, that energy that Sewell's playing with, it's not personal, but it's just, somebody in the other team's jersey is just an obstacle in between, what he ultimately wants to be obviously a Super Bowl winning football player. And so I think it goes to the competitiveness of this division. If you look at the best edge players in this division, the top 2 are not Minnesota Vikings players, but as a unit, I think you're right. I would agree that top to bottom. And look, that's something that we've heard all offseason. Where do people say the Lions they've lost their coordinators? Brian Flores is a damn good defensive coordinator, and he's still intact. They're bringing back. They have the continuity. They've got the players. I think as a unit, they're currently in this top spot. But just like you said, if provided the Lions, obviously, there's always the caveat of health. Reshuffle the deck, and it's like, all right, let's go play this again. And the Lions have the ability to overtake them, but I can't rank them ahead of Minnesota just yet with health concerns. It wouldn't make sense.
All right, we've got ads dialed all the way back for the rest of the day. And now I want to get into some keys of the game for this week. My dog's just looking at me funny like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, so is mine. Maybe they're just amped for the games. I don't know. It's mine usually just chills and looks at me, but she's she's hyper today.
All right, so Lions neutralizing Micah Parsons is obviously one of the biggest keys to the game, and Rashawn Gary. Both of those players need to be taken care of. Taylor Decker, he's my wild card this weekend. He's going to have to start hot, right? That shoulder repair, is that going to be an issue in this game? He said that it was good when he came back, but he missed a large part of training camp. Got in, says he was fine. My wild card of the weekend is Taylor Decker. Penei Sewell, I'm less concerned about, even though we highlighted the fact that Penei Sewell's pass pro, not the greatest. As a matter of fact, it's one of the worst in the league. I know that sounds crazy, but it's a fact. He's rated, I think it was 40. Was it 49th we went through the other day? Was it 49th that he was rated? Or 36th?
I don't recall off the top of my head, but yeah, for as good of a player as he is, it's not as high as you would expect.
He's definitely not in the top 32. But in the run game, Penei Sewell is one of the best run blockers in the game. And that's where I expect him to execute against players like Micah Parsons and or Rashawn Gary. I'm expecting those guys to flip-flop sides, probably rotate inside and attack the Lions newbies, Tate Ratledge, and then the second-year guard in Mahogany, who's essentially a rookie himself. That's where I'm expecting the Packers to attack the Lions this weekend, is through the middle. And that's where Jared Goff probably has the most issue with pressure. It's pressure that comes at his face. It's not the pressure that comes from the outside as much. I mean, that's where a lot of the sacks happen. But the pressure that comes at his face, Jared Goff tends to throw bad balls when, I mean, every quarterback does, but Jared Goff primarily throws more bad balls when the pressure's coming at him and coming at him hot. Tends to get a lot of balls batted in that situation. So the new guys, Tate Ratledge and Mahogany, are really going to have to step up this weekend and have their best game against what could be a very tenacious Green Bay Packers defense. The reason why it matters, I mean, this is Parsons' debut, assuming that he's playing. Gary's power rush is Green Bay's biggest swing factor in this game. Execution notes for me, heavy chip help, obviously, from the tight ends and the running backs this weekend for the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff's going to have to call plenty of slide protections toward Parsons. Quick game concepts to limit the rush time, I think, is where John Morton is going to have to key in. Let's get that ball off quick. Let's utilize some of the screen game. And I know screens kind of take a little bit to develop. And that's where maybe sitting back in the gun this weekend will help Jared Goff be able to analyze what the defense is doing, get the ball out, and let's find these guys in space. What I'm not concerned about is when Jahmyr Gibbs gets the ball. What I'm not concerned about is when Amon-Ra St. Brown gets the ball or Jameson Williams gets the ball. We need to use speed. If the Lions don't show up to this game with a game plan of using speed and focusing on speed, then I'm going to have some questions. Right now, you have Jahmyr Gibbs and Jameson Williams and Isaac TeSlaa, assuming he's healthy to go to the game, some of the fastest players in the league. And I know what you're thinking. TeSlaa? Really? 4.4 or even sub 4.4 at times. That's just a 40 time, but he plays fast. He's big. He's physical. He can block downfield. Use the speed. Get TeSlaa out in front of these guys. Get Jahmyr behind him, right? Get him out in space, but use your speed. Spread the field. Matter of fact, all 22 brought it up yesterday. Spreading the field horizontally. The linebackers, if you can get those guys spread wide, that's where you can do the most damage over the middle. My favorite lineup right now that's just been rattling around in my brain is putting Jahmyr Gibbs, Jameson Williams, and Isaac TeSlaa out on the right or the left in that stacked trips formation. And then you could put David Montgomery behind the line of scrimmage and Amon-Ra St. Brown on the other side. No tight ends. No tight ends. Jared's in the gun. You snap that ball. You use David Montgomery as your protection. You can either have Jahmyr step back, Jamo step back, or you send Jamo or Jahmyr in motion towards Jared, and you hit him right then and there while the field is already spread on both sides. And you're just going to cut right across the linebacker's face, post it to the end zone. That is one of my favorite routes. It is one of my favorite concepts for the weekend, and I'm hoping that John Morton utilizes it. It's something that we haven't seen yet. We haven't seen it because not only the formation, but we haven't seen it with these players. Another key to the game for me this weekend, obviously, it's the interior offensive line cohesion. I spoke about it a minute ago, but the rookie in right guard, Tate Ratledge, plus the second-year left guard in Christian Mahogany, and then obviously the veteran, Graham Glasgow, in at center. These guys are going to be facing a rebuilt Green Bay defense and a rotation from Green Bay that is going to be new this year. How are they going to get guys in and out? Again, what I'm expecting from an execution standpoint from John Morton would be this. When you can trap some guys on the field, we need to use tempo. What have we heard, Riley? All preseason long, training camp, what do the Lions do the best? Well, I spoke about it earlier today. They practice at a much higher level than the rest of the NFL, right? At least Avonte Maddox even pointed that out. If the Lions are that much more prepared, practicing at a higher tempo, what do you think that I'm expecting them to do to start the game? Tempo.
Hit the ground running. Yep.
Get up tempo. Get these guys on their heels. You want to go if you can get a first down quickly, great. 4, 5, 6 plays, lock them on the field, burn them out. These guys are not going to be ready to go 4, 5, 6, 7 plays on their heels. So you got to use speed. You got to run them deep. The more you run them deep, the quicker they're going to gas out. You get them sucking wind early, that's when you start handing the ball off. And Jahmyr Gibbs does this thing, or David Montgomery does this thing. So from an execution standpoint, not only am I expecting them to use the speed, but go up tempo and do it early. Get these guys sucking wind, and then double teams on double teams on Rashawn Gary as needed, or Micah Parsons as needed, and utilizing a lot of inside zone or duo runs to test Green Bay's new defensive line. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are very much in line with that. I feel like it's, I don't know if it's just because it's week one and the nerves are there, the adrenaline's there, but I feel like more so in this game, it's imperative to start fast. It's not going to be, as crisp especially with the guys not taking a bunch of snaps in preseason. They're going to look better middle of the season for sure than they do week one. But I think that being said, I think that they need to come out and start fast, whether it's on offense or defense first. I do think that there is how motivated is Aiden Hutchinson right now? Coming back, he's the missing piece in his mind. He's about to get paid. He just saw what Parsons gets paid. And now he's on the opposite side of the field of him. I feel like those guys are going to be battling to be the first one to get a sack in this game. And I think it's though it's not head to head, those two guys, I think that's going to do a huge boost for whatever, side of the ball gets that, whether it's the Packers defense or the Lions defense first. And then I do think offensively, there's so many ways that you can attack the team. They asked John Morton yesterday, were we going to see a similar split between Montgomery and Gibbs? And he kind of smiled, just said, yeah, we'll see. I don't see why you would change it. Both of those guys are too good to not be getting a workload. But I think if you can come out, throw something deep to JMO early, get a score first, kind of get out in front. And then just like you said, I think if you can kind of milk the clock a little bit as this game starts to go on and just pound them and do what you did last year in overtime against the Rams, where you just gave it to Montgomery over and over and over and just impose your will as the game goes on.
We could have a little bit of rain in this game. At least projected right now, it's going to be fairly cool, upper 50s around the 4 o'clock hour. The rain could let up, so the field could be a little bit wet. I'm hoping that the Lions don't make the mistake and they don't bring their 3/4 cleats. They need to bring the 3/4 cleats this weekend. It's always nasty in Green Bay. It's one of the toughest fields to play on. Players always seem like they slip. And the other thing to watch is if you're at the game, which side of the field were the landscapers or whatever you want to call them, out there, which side of the field were they wetting down the most? Because depending on who wins the toss, Green Bay is going to go the opposite way. Sometimes they'll wet down one of the end zones. And then they'll know when they get into that end zone that they're going to be running the ball more than passing, or vice versa, depending on which end zone it is. Green Bay is shady like that. They've always done it every year. So pay attention. What side of the field are they wetting down the most? Now, we may not be able to see that because previous to game time, they might not be out there. But if they are, pay attention. You kind of went through like the whole game. I'm not saying to milk the clock per se. In the beginning of the game, it's get up tempo, and yeah, of course you want to try to score quick. Imposing your will in the run game happens later, but the goal is to get up tempo to get the defense gassed early, and then you can jam the ball down their throat. And when you start to have success in the run game, then we know that Jared Goff is going to be dialing up the play action, or John Morton, I should say, dialing up the play action. And Jared Goff is one of the best quarterbacks with play action. The Lions ran the most play action last season. So up tempo, get the Packers on their heels, make them feel it. The Lions are going to be ready. They've been practicing hard all season. But then my third key of the game is obviously Mr. Sonic and Mr. Knuckles. They've got to have good volume in this game. And what I mean by that is you're going to have to feed them the rock, to kind of what you were just saying, which will obviously limit the clock time for the Packers. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery combined last year for 523 touches, over 2,000 yards of rushing. I think the split flow motion, really to create some run lanes for these guys is something that should be taken advantage of. Gibbs on angle routes, we know what he does. How many times do you see him getting the ball at the 5, the 6, the 7 yard line, slanting towards the end zone outside? I mean, he makes it every time. No one can stick with him. Get the linebackers in space. I really want to see Gibbs put Parsons to the dirt. Break his ankles. No one has been able to stick with Gibbs. I want to see him get embarrassed this weekend. David Montgomery in short yardage. Obviously, he's in that sledgehammer role, as I like to call it. But these guys need to get volume. Matter of fact, last year, Gibbs threw me this glove. He actually threw both of them at me. I missed one of them. But this glove was sopping wet after that game, right? I'm expecting for him to do the same thing that he did last year. I want to see that nice little bow in the end zone when he scores in the first quarter. So that's one of my locks for the week. Jahmyr Gibbs will definitely be scoring in the first quarter.
Yeah, dude, I'm getting literally getting goosebumps because this is nostalgic for me for just taking it back to last year. I'm so excited for the locks. I'm sure we'll fire those off Sunday, prior to kickoff, but that being one of them. And then it makes it so damn fun when it's like watching fantasy. When your guy scores a touchdown, it's like, this is a prediction that was made. And I guess on my end too, it's, not to just go 0 to 100, all right, go, get a lead and then just milk the clock. I think it's going to be a battle for sure. But I do think that somewhere in the third quarter, the Lions can really start to kind of show okay, it's like a little brother or a big brother keeping a little brother, just stiff arm in his forehead and he's sitting there swinging and he can't reach you. I think, not underestimating Green Bay. They're obviously a good team. This is going to be a very hard game. But I think that the Lions are going to be able to show up and they just have so much talent. Just go execute. Go get the lead.
Every game,
go make some plays.
I mean, every game in week one is tough, I feel, because it's week one. Last night was a knock 'em out, drag 'em kind of fight, for the Cowboys and the Eagles. It was a lot closer than I think anticipated. I don't remember what the line was last night. That was a 4-point game, right? Tough game.
Right.
It was a very tough game. Expect the same thing this weekend. I don't remember all the scores that we put out. I think I wrote them down. I have to make sure, because I'm going to change everything tomorrow when I go through and put out my final predictions, or tonight. I'll put out my final predictions for the season. Rocks Locks will get finalized probably by tomorrow. I don't want to do it on Sundays anymore. I'll definitely get it. We'll talk about it on game day, of course. But I want to make sure I'm ahead of the game this year and I'm not behind the 8 ball. Last year I was late on everything because I had too much going on. Let me go back to Packers depth chart here. There's something that I keyed in on the other day. Packers DBs, not great. Now, they have Edgerrin Cooper, one of the better will linebackers in the league. Quay Walker, one of the better middle linebackers in the league. Isaiah McDuffie, a top 3 safety in the league. But left corner, Keeson Nixon. Behind him, Kamal Hayden. You guys know that I loved Kamal Hayden last year. Was definitely somebody I wanted to see the Lions pick up. Well, the Packers got him. They also have Xavier McKinney. Isaiah McDuffie, slot linebacker. Isaiah McKinney, one of the better free safeties in the league. They brought in Nate Hobbs. He's questionable right now. And they also have Javon Bullard down in the nickel. It's a pretty damn good defense when you look at it. But if you're going to single one person out, it's Keeson Nixon. And so for me, it's attacking Keeson Nixon deep. Nixon shifting to the outside corner this year versus Jamison Williams. Oh, boy. Take advantage of that. Hell, even versus Isaac Tesla. You know, J-Mo's a sub 4.3 40. Tesla's sub 4.4. Amon-Ra, sub 4.5. All 3 of these guys have speed in-game, though. It's different in-game. They're a lot faster in-game. I want them to isolate Nixon and Williams at some point throughout this game, and I think that J-Mo obviously is going to take them deep. Play action, go routes, double moves, isolate. Isolate Nixon, especially when they're in a cover 3. If they're in a cover 3, you got to take wide advantage of this. Red zone efficiency. The Lions were one of the best last year. Actually, I think they were the best last year. Green Bay has this bend but don't break defense at some point. Usually when you're in the red zone, they try to stiffen a little bit in the red zone. I'm sorry. Green Bay has a bend but don't break defense between the red zones. They stiffen up a little bit when you get to the red zone. But I see the Lions being able to capitalize once again. Use St. Brown in some condensed splits, maybe some tight end leak plays, get Sam Laporta involved in the game. But it's Isaac Tesla this year that I think is going to do a ton of damage around the goal line. 25 yards and in. This is my call for John Morton. Please start hitting the end zone. Pepper it at least one time on every opportunity. Don't wait to the 20-yard line. And don't wait to the 10-yard line to start going at the end zone. You get close to the 25-yard line, you have more space. They're not going into red zone D just yet. Catch them. Go to the end zone. J-Mo, Tesla, run some corner post patterns. You can send Amon-Ra or Jahmyr Gibbs over the middle and drag those defenders away. Who are they going to follow? Are you going to follow Gibbs? Are you going to follow Amon-Ra? Are you going to follow Jamison? Good effing luck. So you've got to put your 3 biggest playmakers out there at the 25-yard line and get to the end zone. Take advantage of these guys.
Yeah.
And they can do it all year to everybody.
Yeah. I was at my buddy Bobby's house the other day. He was doing a dynasty draft, and I'm telling him, like, hey, man, I don't want to say he's the next Puka, but let's try to get Tesla late. And I start showing him a highlight. I show him the touchdown against the Falcons. I think it was the Falcons when he does the worm after. And he's asking me, like, what round did this guy go in? So we start talking about his history, and he's like, man, I think he had more touchdowns in the preseason than he did all of his college career. It speaks to the type of talent that he has. But you see that play. That's what comes to my mind as you're describing that. You don't have to shoot at the end zone every time you get to the 25, but take a shot, man. Just try to take the top off of him. Let him go one-on-one on the outside. Exactly like you said, there's so many options. And if you don't get it, trust that Goff will throw it away and then just line back up and run it. And this team will probably go for it 4 times, depending on the game situation, because you've also got a kicker that you believe in. But I love it, man. I think that's get to be the MO for this team. Be obviously very aggressive and give the guys the chance to make the plays.
Something else I'm gonna make sure I save this year is all of my the things that I've written about, the execution, the keys to the game. Usually I'm gonna do about 5 keys to every game: offense, defense. I do the key, why it matters, and then the execution notes. I'm gonna save all these, and we're gonna go back and look. Now, the first couple of games, obviously, it's kind of hard to know exactly what the Lions are gonna do because we haven't seen it yet. And that's the toughest part. But we have seen them every year. We just don't know what they're going to do this year.
It's true, but I remember, and you got to understand, for everyone listening, the start of the season last year was, I'd found the Rocked On about a month before that, and week 1, I remember at the end of the game, you looked at Laporta's stats and St. Brown's stats, and they were meager, such that you would look at the box score and think, man, the Lions might have lost that game. And I don't know if you recall, Will, but you actually nailed that prediction. You expected that St. Brown and Laporta would have less production in that game. And then J-Mo was the one that went and had 124 yards, had his breakout game. And I remember just listening to the
game was that?
Season opening game last year, week 1, Rams at Lions.
Oh, yeah.
And it really caught my attention because I remember the next morning you and Eric were at some hotel or something out and doing the morning show. Mm-hmm. But even that night I believe you did a recap of that, and you had called before the game. I don't think I think you said something along the lines even I don't think St. Brown's having more than 50 yards receiving.
Right.
And everybody would think, no, man, he's the wide receiver number 1. He's going for 100. But the point was that, and that's what I loved. I was like, oh man, this guy knows ball. That's why I wanted to stick around and be part of the channel, because the Lions won the game, and that's the thing, and that's the beauty of having a great team with all these different players that in different ways to beat people. You can win a game with Laporta having 8 yards on 1 reception.
You can win. You can win with any one of these guys not having a huge game, and that's kind of what I said last year. Was I expected the ball to be spread around. But I also said 4 guys were going to have 1,000 yards all purpose. That was probably my biggest call last year. Based on what happened the season before, I expected for us to see 4 guys go for 1,000 yards, and they did. I'm expecting the same thing again this year. But the more I get closer to doing the finalization of the Rocks Locks, I'm kind of questioning it because I don't know what Isaac Tesla's usage is going to be. If Isaac Tesla's usage is going to be like Tim Patrick's last season, then yes, 4 players could have 1,000 yards again. But then the question is, okay, Jahmyr Gibbs, what is his usage going to be in the pass game? Mm-hmm. All it takes is for one of those guys to have more usage than a player from last year in that position, and it's going to suck their opportunities away, and it's going to spread that ball around. And Jared Goff's really good at that. I mean, he spreads the ball around a ton. He gets to all of his, progressions quickly and finds the open man. He doesn't care who catches the ball. He's not feeding one individual. He doesn't care about your fantasy points. All right, defensive keys to the game. Obviously, you've got to contain Josh Jacobs. The Lions' MO on defense is to stop the run. That is the biggest focus. Shut the run down. Green Bay's going to try to step up early and set the tone, I believe, with Josh Jacobs with some power running. There could be some 5-man fronts in this game for the Lions. I'm not totally sold on the fact that they're going to sell out early, but I do expect maybe towards the latter parts of the game or even into the red zone, we might see some 5-man fronts. What I am expecting, which is my number 1 call for the defense this year, is that it is so versatile that you're going to see blitz packages from everywhere. It's not just going to be Aiden, go get him. It's not going to be Davenport, go get him. It's not going to be that. I personally believe it's going to be you 4, just go win. Go try to win all of your reps the best you can. But then I think you're also going to see Aiden and Davenport just set an edge. and stay, not get after the quarterback. Why? Because Grant Stewart, your 2025 captain for the Detroit Lions, is going to be heavily utilized as a scud missile getting after the quarterback this season. He has the speed, he has the shiftiness, the tackling ability, the tenacity, the vision, the awareness, you name it. Grant Stewart is probably one of the best free agent pickups that Brad Holmes has ever had. And we haven't even seen him in a game yet, in a regular season matchup. But I'm telling you, this guy is an absolute scud missile this season for the Detroit Lions. He's going to be heavily utilized in the blitz packages. But he's not the only one. I think that this is also the year for Jack Campbell. Jack really stepped into his own last year. I saw the evolution of Jack taking over this defense as the signal caller last season, and that started to happen probably halfway through the season, but most notably when Anzalone went down. That's when Jack really evolved. The dude is a hell of a linebacker, and he's a dying breed. He said it himself. He's a dying breed at, what is he, 6'5", 250, 255, somewhere in that range. You just don't see linebackers that size. Matter of fact, he was kind of mocking in his own way the other day where he was saying, I see these 5'10", Malcolm Rodriguez, 5'11", 6-foot guys playing the linebacker role. He's like, what is this? 220, 215, 230s. He's like, I'm a dying breed out there. And he's right. You just don't see guys that big playing middle linebacker anymore. Why? Because the league has gone to speed. I think that Jack not only has the speed, but he also has the vision and the smarts. I mean, the dude is so smart. Jack is I think he's going to have some opportunity to get after the quarterback this year too. Derek Barnes, all 22 said yesterday, maybe not. Maybe won't be heavily utilized in getting after the quarterback, but dropping into coverage, absolutely. He feels that Derek Barnes is one of the best at dropping into coverage. I haven't personally seen that because I haven't watched as much tape on Derek probably as what Mr. All 22 has, Mr. Derek Coleman. We'll see what Derek does this year. I'm hoping that he really steps up again and starts the way that he ended his season last year. Unfortunately, I hope he continues on his rise. So contain Josh. Green Bay obviously got to shut down the run game. And then moving on to the wide receiver, Matthew Golden, and his discipline. Golden runs a 4.29 or better. He's got great speed. He will be Green Bay's featured wide receiver in this game. He's definitely the WR1, I would say, even though he's a little bit smaller. I think he's 5'10", 6 foot, somewhere in that range. Safety help over the top. Obviously, you're going to press at the line of scrimmage to disrupt the timing, and that is another call for me with Calvin Shepard in this defense. Last season, I kept calling for press, but jam these guys at the line of scrimmage. Use DJ Reed and his ability to cover in man, but get him at the line of scrimmage to jam this guy up. Disrupt that timing, and then you can drop back into coverage. It's easier to do when you have two safeties in. When we're in this single high safety all the time, it's not easy to jam these guys because if one of them does get loose, your nickel either has to be there to pick it up if he's on that side, or your safety has to be there to pick it up. And if you only have one safety that's splitting the field, which direction is he going to go? So you've got to mix it up, but safety help over the top, I think pressing at the line of scrimmage, disrupt the timing. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're all sentient points. I think that's kind of the mark. I do think back to the game, if I'm not mistaken, Jordan Love's like 1-6 or 2-6 against the Lions since he's been in the NFL. One of the games he won was the game in Detroit, Thanksgiving a couple years ago, and he made one of the best throws I've ever seen. But he's the kind of guy that seems like he'll get hot early, and then he can kind of ride that. If you can come out and kind of just disrupt him a little bit, and then exactly right. whether it's the first quarter, second quarter, third, all the way through the game, Josh Jacobs is the guy you have to kind of mark and contain. I'm sure Golden will make a few plays. They're going to feature him. He's their number one guy. They hyped him up as the draft in Green Bay. Hey, we're finally getting our guy. I just don't know if they have enough supporting cast to keep up with the firepower that the Lions have. And I love what you say on the defense. These are things that you've dreamt of, right? Being able to just attack teams so many different ways. And I'm expecting that, man. Once we see just some random blitz from some player that is out of the norm, I'm going to say there's one of Will's. I'll probably be texting you in the moment, say there's a rocks lock there and you're hoping Kelvin Shepard's got the same thought process, which I'm sure that he does. Turn these guys loose, man. Like, especially Aiden Hutchinson. Let him go. All systems go, man. Like, everything has been building up to this point. Turn him loose on Sunday.
So Jack Campbell last season, he recorded 55 run stops, tackles that resulted in a loss of EPA and are positive for the defense, obviously. 6th most in the NFL for Jack Campbell. I'm expecting him to do the containment there through the middle on Josh Jacobs. 17.7% run stop rate, ranks 2nd among all defenders with at least 250 snaps last year. Now, since entering the league in 2023, Jack Campbell has also posted a 15.9% run stop rate, which, get this, 4th highest among all defenders with at least 500 or more snaps in the league. Jack Campbell is one of the best. So for all the haters and all the doubters and everyone discounting Jack Campbell, there's your proof. He's one of the best linebackers in the league already in year 2. In year 3 is going to be much of the same and probably more. Now, you brought up Hutchinson. I'll get to him last, but I do want to touch on something that was said in the chat, because you bring up a good point when you mentioned, who was it? Who brought up the Stewart getting the nod over Campbell for captain? T-Bone Locks says, very interesting that Stewart was appointed captain over Campbell. It's a great point, great question, or statement, I should say. Are the Lions going to season captains this year? They did last year. Or are they going to be doing a little bit of a weekly update? Some teams have the captain patch on all year. You usually have offense, defense, special teams captain all year. And then you have some weekly captains. Is Grant Stewart a weekly captain, or is he a season captain? Now, I know that the flyer that came out said this is your 2025 season captains or whatever, but I'm wondering if there's going to be some weekly updates. I don't know how Jack Campbell wouldn't be on the list. I really don't. It doesn't make any sense to me, especially when he's one of the best linebackers in the game, clearly a leader on this team. Be interesting to see what happens.
They drafted Campbell with, I think that the time frame is, okay, hey, we're taking this guy and probably heading into that 2025 season, that's when we're going to give him the green dot. And that's what he's got. So yeah, you're right. Based on the post, it looked like, hey, these are the season captains for the Lions, but there's nothing to say that they don't, going into week 2, post something else and say, here's the captains for week 2. But at any rate, the thing you love about Jack Campbell, amongst any number of things, but I just remember him saying too that since he was, informed, hey, you're getting the green dot, you're leading the linebacker in this year. He said, it was an honor. I felt, obviously you feel emotional about it, but he said, I just realized, like, I just have to continue being myself. That's it. So Jack Campbell's, we talked about it at the start of the show, he's got the mentality as well. He's smart enough and self-aware enough to realize, dude, just keep doing what you're doing and what you've been doing. The season's not going to be made or broken on your shoulders alone. Just do your part, lead the team. So whether he's a captain or not, it's a great point that the comments are made too. But yeah, certainly they're leaning on him for leadership.
All right. Third down, man. Third down coverage. Jordan Love, 62.5% career completion percentage against Detroit. DJ Reed, man on man versus Dobbs this week, most likely. Probably going to line up against Golden quite a bit. I think you're going to have to bracket down Golden this weekend. I think you're going to have to disguise some coverage and pre-snap, bracket him down, lock him down, take him out of the game. If you can take Golden out and you can handle Jacobs in the run game, I'm less concerned about the run game because of what the Lions have done for 2 seasons or 2.5 seasons now, which has really shut down everybody in the run game, and we have pretty much the same defense. I know that there's a lot of people out there that think the Lions made a big mistake and they shouldn't have brought back all these players. I don't know why you wouldn't have. When you had one of the best run defenses in the league, why would you want to do anything different? That is so hard to do. Go look around the league. Tell me how many teams have kept all of their opponents for 2.5 seasons under 100 yards collectively in the run game. The Lions only allowed one opponent last year have more than 100 yards. And I think that was it might have been the Bills game.
Probably.
I'm not positive. I didn't write that stat down. But I think there was only one game since about week 9 of 2022 where the Lions have allowed a 100-yard rusher collectively. I'm not sure. Maybe we had one player that had over 100 yards too in that same time span. That's pretty damn good and really hard to do. So bracket Golden. You have to win on third down coverage. Turnover margin. I don't even have to say it. You have to win. You have to win. Lambeau swings on momentum. That stadium is different. But just like Ford Field, man, when you get an interception or you pop out a fumble, Ford Field can turn the game around just with the fans. Lambeau's the same way. It's because it's a very tough place to play already. So punch outs, I don't care where they're coming from. Jacobs, Dobbs, Reed, Golden, I don't care who it is. You got to get the ball out at least one time, and someone's got to pull a pick out of the sky. So we need at least a couple of turnovers, but more importantly, we can't have any ourselves. We have to win the turnover margin. Couple more things. You guys know I'm big on this. Defensive scoring. The Lions cannot allow any teams this year to have more than 20 points a game average. 19.9999 or less. That's where the defense needs to be. You hold teams under 20 points, you're going to win just about every game this year. I know some of you guys doubted me last year when I started bringing this stat up even more, but it's something I've been talking about for years. It reigned true. Did it not? Go look back at all the games that we won and then go look at the games that we lost. Or I can tell you. And then go back many years and go look at the record. Riley, just let me know if you got to jump.
No, we're good.
So last season, the Lions started out winning 26-20. The next game, we lost 20-16. So it's if we would have held the Buccaneers, to less than 20, we still needed to score one more time to at least tie the game up. If we would have held them to 19, a field goal could have tied the game up. The next week, the Lions won 20-13. The next week, we won 42-29. So that one is kind of an outlier, but we scored 42 points. The Cowboys, 47-9. 31-29 against the Vikings. 52-14 versus the Titans. 24-14 versus the Packers. 26-23 versus the Texans. 52-6 versus the Jags. 24-6 versus the Colts. 23-20 versus the Bears. 34-31 versus the Packers. 48-42 versus the Bills. 34-17 versus the Bears. 40-34 against the 49ers. 31-9 versus the Vikings. We averaged 20.1 points on the defensive side of the football. That's what we allowed teams to do. We went 15-2. It was our best season yet, and it was the best season in defensive scoring in more than a decade. It matters. You have to keep teams under 20 points. You must. Our team should be able to score 3 touchdowns in every game. We have to. Like, with all these weapons, there's no reason or excuse why the Lions can't put up 24 points a game. A field goal and 3 TDs. The last thing I'm going to talk about is one of my keys to the game. I went with like 7 or 8 for the defense. Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson returns. I don't care about 7.5 sacks in 4.5 games or 7 sacks in 4.5 games. I don't care. Throw it out the window. I don't care what happened last year. The reason why is because I don't want to see it happen again to Aiden. Aiden has to stay healthy. Aiden's pressure rate needs to be where it is, but Aiden also has to play under control. He can't get too deep. He can't get overzealous. He has to play within his assignment and his details, and he has to force the quarterback to make mistakes. If you're not winning on a rep, find a way to win on the rep. Do something to affect the play. Don't aim for sacks. Aim for success. Allow your teammates to help you. The stats at the end of the day don't matter, besides one, and that's the score of the game. I don't care if you have 1 sack in 2025, as long as you have 1 Super Bowl to go along with it. Let that sink in. I don't care if he gets 0 sacks this year. It don't matter to me. What matters is collectively the team playing to their best ability together and under control and disciplined. That's probably the biggest key for both offense and defense is discipline this year. Penalties have to remain to a minimum. Terry and Arnold cannot get attacked again this year by refs, so he's going to have to play, a way where the refs can't throw a flag. You got to get your head turned around. You've got to get your hands up in the air. You can't just play hands and eyes. You have to turn around, or you have to keep some guys in front of you, one or the other. What do you want to say about the last keys to the game?
Yeah, I know these are things that fall in line with things that you've talked about always. I know you were talking last year with Hutch, like, hey, man, it's great you made a play, but stop with the stanky leg dance, all this, celebrate, play, but just like line up and just keep attacking, man, and just lead by example. And I expect that from these guys this year. I still feel like Terrion's going to get his pick, whether it happens in week 1. What remains to be seen. I'm so confident he'll get one this year, but I think that, man, it's. I can feel the nerves now, the adrenaline now. I'm sure all of us can for getting out there for the game. I just can't wait to get out on Sunday to see how this starts to go. But there's a bunch of really damn good football players on the Detroit Lions, and it's nice to see kind of have all the reinforcements back. We'll see what it looks like starting on Sunday.
All right. How much more time do you have?
I'll head out now. I guess if you are going to keep it rolling,
I just got one more thing really that I was going to go through. So it's probably 10 minutes.
I'll be tuned in.
Okay, buddy. You have a good day, man. I'll talk to you over the weekend.
You guys got it. Go have a great Friday, guys. Thank you.
All right. Be right back. It's game time, Detroit, and you found the right place for the latest Detroit Lions news. So hop on in and take the ride to Super Bowl 60 with Rocked On Detroit Lions. Join Will Rock, Eric Rintamaki, and Riley O'Brien today on the Rise and Grind Morning Show. Good morning. All right. I had one more thing I wanted to cover. Well, before you guys found the channel this morning. If you're new this morning, please do us a huge favor and hit that subscribe button. We're going to be adding a few more, details, graphics, and things as we go. Week 1 is kind of the trial. I got behind a little bit this week, so I'm doing my best job. But smash that subscribe button for us. Always hit the like button before you get in. And then this is the most important thing. Live chat does not leave comments. You guys leave a bunch of chat. when you're done, if you could do us a huge favor, go into the comments after the show and leave us some comments about the show, your keys to the game, what you feel is most important, things that we discovered, or discussed today that you agree or disagree with, whatever it is. Let us know. If there's things you want us to cover every week, you can put it in the comments. I try to get to every single one, or you can email us at mailbag@rockdown.com. Wednesday nights, we'll be shifting to Gripes and Hype. That is where it's before Thursday Night Football, of course. We'll be doing a quick recap of what you guys want to discuss throughout the week, post-game stuff, anything that you're worried about for the next week. Email it, mailbag@rockdown.com. If you don't want your name used on live air, just tell us, hey, this is my question. I want to be anonymous. That's okay. We won't blast you out there. It's all fun. It's all discussion. It's all fun debate. It's not personal. So send us your statements, your questions, whatever it is, segments that you want us to cover. And then phone calls will be active today. I promise you, I will have it fixed by the time I'm done this morning. And then phone calls will be back live during the morning shows and then also all of the evening shows. I think that's it, but here's the final thing. I just kind of wanted to roll through some of the matchups and kind of give you my take on the matchups this weekend. I will do a video follow-up and kind of recap a lot of things and tighten it up so we don't have all this extra talk in between. But number one, I want to start with the positional group matchups. So quarterback, Jared Goff's efficiency, the chemistry with the wide receivers, the addition of Isaac Tisla, the rise of Jameson Williams' maturity. I think all of those things blend well for the Detroit Lions this week and this season. Jahmyr Gibbs being utilized in the pass game. There's going to be some new nuances to this offense. John Morton, nobody knows what he's going to do. So he has the flexibility now to kind of present whatever it is that he wants to present week by week by week and still be able to hold some things back. Whereas Ben Johnson, you kind of got used to his play style, right? And the way that he was going to call a game. And I think the defenses were starting to kind of key in on that a little bit. So it's all new for us, right? But quarterback positional group, again, Jared Goff's efficiency and chemistry with the wide receivers and Love's inconsistency. That favors Detroit. Running back room, Gibbs, Montgomery, Sonic, Knuckles. This combo is the most versatile, most lethal combo there is in the NFL. Separately, Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 3 running back in this league. David Montgomery is a top 10 running back in this league. I don't know who has it better than us. And I'd have to say nobody. Edge to the Detroit Lions. Wide receivers and tight ends. St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Isaac Tisla, Khalif Raymond. Is there really anyone better? Sam Laporta, Brock Wright. This unit has consistency, cohesion. They've been playing together for a while. Obviously, Tisla is the newbie to the room. On the other side of the football, Matthew Golden is new to this team. He's a rookie. A lot of rookies don't play well their first year. Some do. But this entire unit for the Packers seems to be hurt. They're in the infirmary right now. They're all battling something. Matthew Golden might be the only option. I know a lot of people put that this was an even matchup. It's an edge for the Lions. There is no way that you can say that the Packers have any sort of an edge over this wide receiver room for the Detroit Lions. Offensive line. Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker, obviously they're elite. Graham Glasgow, I'm hoping, is going to be a top 15 center in this league this season. And I say top 15 because we just don't know. He's not Frank Ragnow. We don't really know where he is. You probably have to put him at the back of the list right now. Interior is untested. It's also new with Tate Ratledge, and Christian Mahogany is stepping into his second season after only having about, 70 snaps or so last season. Green Bay's depth chart obviously has changed a little bit this year. Eldon Jenkins, Aaron Banks, Rasheed Walker, Sean Ryan, Zach Tom, Anthony Belton, backing him up. Jordan Morgan. It's a pretty good room. I'm going to have to go even right now on the offensive line, simply because there's too many unanswered questions for the Detroit Lions. Defensive line on the edge. Aiden Hutchinson, Marcus Davenport versus Parsons and Gary. Both have game records on both sides. Both have good depth on both sides. This room, I know I said I ranked them higher earlier, but in this matchup, in week 1, it's even. Defensive line on the interior. Well, Green Bay's rotation might be a lot better. Devonta Wyatt, Colby Wooden, the rookie Nazir Stackhouse, who was one of my highest rated defensive tackles at the combine. While I was watching them, I was really loving what he was doing. He was a late round pick, but I was really loving what he was doing. He might be that little diamond in the rough that shows up this year. And Carl Brooks behind them. I mean, Carl was one of my favorite guys out of the draft. Was it last year, the season before? Along with Will McDonald and Jared Verse and a couple of others. It's a pretty good room, but it is not anywhere close to what the Lions have. I'm sorry. DJ Reader coming into his second season with the Lions fully healthy. Tyleik Williams, who is my number 1 overall defensive tackle in this draft. Not just because he went to the Lions, but before that. I told you guys all about him. And I expected him to become a Detroit Lion, and that's what happened. I think that he's going to have a big impact on this defensive front this year. He can get after the quarterback, but he will also shut down the run. He is very flexible, very versatile, and the Lions can get multiple with the defensive line room that they have. For your Detroit Lions on the depth chart, they're carrying, was it 7 defensive tackles this year? 7. We haven't seen that in a couple years. Actually, I think they have 8 now. Mekhi Wingo, Roy Williams, Pat O'Connor, Lee McNeil's out, Levi Onwuzurike's out. It's a pretty deep room. Roy Lopez is going to surprise some people this year. I think we have the better rotation. I'm giving the edge to the Lions. Linebackers, Quay Walker, Devondre Campbell. I'm sorry, Quay Walker, Edgerrin Cooper, Micah Parsons, assuming he plays linebacker, but Quay Walker and Edgerrin Cooper and Isaiah McDuffie, that's a pretty thick unit. Derek Barnes, Jack Campbell, and Alex Anzalone, and now Grant Stewart. I'll take them all day. Zach Cunningham has played insanely well. I'm going to have to give the edge to the Lions. It just depends on where Parsons plays. If he's going to be outside as a Sam linebacker, then I would have to give the edge to the Packers. But I think as a unit, I think the Lions could finish, if everyone stays healthy, when they stay healthy, they could finish as one of the top units in the league this year. For the secondary, the Detroit Lions, DJ Reed, Avonte Maddox, Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, Terrion Arnold, Amik Robertson, your starting 5. The best starting 5, in my opinion, in the league. Now, we don't know what DJ Reed is just yet because we haven't seen him in live game action. We watched Terrion Arnold really blossom in the last 5 or 6 games last year, and I think that he's taken a huge step this season. As noted by Kelvin Shepard, he has been the biggest riser from year over year. There's not many people or many teams that are going to be able to stack up to the Lions, not only their depth, but their starters. Having 2 of the best safeties in the league is a huge advantage in and of itself. Having what is potentially a top 5 nickel pack in Amik Robertson, from where he came, the guy can play outside, inside, all over the place. But you added 2 flex guys and Avonte Maddox and Rock Ya-Sin that can play every position in the defensive backfield. There is not a better rotation, in my opinion, in the league. And that's not me being biased. I really believe that. Someone challenge me and show me a better rotation, a better depth than what the Lions have put together. Obviously, I'm giving the edge to the Lions. At special teams, I don't even need to say it. Jack Fox is the best punter in the league, and Jake Bates is rated as the best kicker in the league. So overall, if the Lions don't have the edge, they are even with the Packers this season in one position. So overall, your Lions have the edge, and I expect the Lions to win. Now I want to ask you guys. Nick is saying, no, that is you being biased. No, I'm just going by what I see when I look at all the other rosters. And like I said, you can challenge, right? Put it together. Tell me something in the chat that would tell you that our DBs are not as good or as deep as another team. Show me another team. I would say the Eagles are probably the next best team, honestly. Even though they lost Darius Slay, they are probably the next best team in the league as far as depth and rotation and immediate starters over there. There's some good teams out there. There's some good players out there, but I just don't see a deeper team that is more flexible than what the Lions have. No, Nick, I would tell you straight up. If I didn't believe that. That's why I do unbiased reviews. I would tell you straight up if I felt differently. The difference between me, man, I don't bleed Saturdays into Sundays, and I have no problem telling you somebody is not a good enough player for me. That's why I catch a lot of hate, over Aiden Hutchinson and Jamison Williams, because you were a number 2 overall pick. I expected more from you from a discipline standpoint. Not discipline like getting in trouble or penalties. No. Discipline on the field, the way that he played the game. I expected more. It just took Aiden a little bit of time. He still had crazy good numbers, but the numbers could have been that much better had he been a little bit more disciplined. And we could have had a couple of more wins in 22 and 23 had he been a little bit more disciplined. But all those things come with time too, right? And growth, which is what I also said. But now I see the difference. Aiden's really transformed his game. And wow, J-Mo. I mean, just a different dude. It's like he woke up on the other side of the bed. He's a different guy. Same dude, just grew up, man. Age, it happens. It happens. So now I want to get your scores. You guys give me your score predictions, and then we're gonna walk out of here. And then the goal is to be back tonight. That's the plan, is to be back tonight to kind of give you a full recap. I am going to drop a couple of videos today to recap a few more things. I want to go over all the game insights. So I'm going to do a game insights video, and then I'm going to do this stuff in a Titan video, 10, 12-minute long, so that we can get it all put together and wrapped up in a bow before week 1. We'll see where all this stuff comes back. So Lions win this weekend, 1,000%. I would like to know what your score prediction is. $27-23 says Buck. All right, get all your score predictions in. What's wrong, Buck? 3324 says Mazatlan Tom. Bill Rowland 31-10. I'm assuming that these are all Lions ahead, right? You put the Lions score first and you're putting the Packers score second. $37.21 says cruising. Where's Brandy Coffee? 40-10. 40-10. I love that. I hope you're right too. $27.20 says Stain Vision. Trace, what's your prediction? Joseph C says 31-17 Lions. $27.21 says Maureen. U of M dad. Buck says Will secretly loves Michigan. You know why I nicknamed you Buck, right? Rob E1 says 45-17. Trace 31-14. Benjamin Ross 31-24. Does anyone have the Lions losing? It's okay. No one's going to judge you. I'm just curious if anyone has the Lions losing. Right now, the over-under is 47.5 points. Lions are plus 124 on DraftKings with 2.5 points, minus 105. You know, I never understand how this works. Like, you're saying that the Lions are the underdog, but then you give them 2.5 points and you give them a minus 105? How does that make any sense? All right, so U of M dad. I said I couldn't call him U of M dad anymore because I kept getting a stomach ache every time I said U of M. I was just being funny. So I nicknamed him Buck. You know, short for Buckeye. Kevin Bird says 30-17 Green Bay is going to lose. The real question by Brandon. Who's Brandon? It's a new name in here. Welcome in, Brandon. Says, will St. Brown wear his Packers suck shirt again? You know what? I think he's going to one-up it. I think that he's going to one-up it this year. Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't get that in our chat. I think Saint is going to come with a maybe he's going to say like Packers suck twice. You know? I don't know. He's going to say something. I would be surprised if he didn't. That's kind of his MO, right? He does his little light trolling. I'm going to love it. Either way, I'm going to love it. No, his shirt was not photoshopped. It was last year's, right? When he actually wore that. I did see the Micah Parsons interview, Joseph, but I didn't see where he was talking about the trick plays. I must have missed it. Maybe I dipped out of the interview too early. What I did hear Parsons say though was this simple. that, the Lions are going to give you a 12 to 15 round heavyweight fight, and like if he thinks that trick plays, look, put it this way, stop him, right? If you can stop him, stop him. But that was Ben Johnson. And I'm sure that Morton's going to have some things up his sleeve too. I just don't think the Lions need to utilize trick plays to win, right? I don't believe that they're going to need them to win. I think that they can win without them. However, when you are in a dogfight and maybe you're in a stagnant game and you go a couple of quarters without scoring, which, by the way, I forgot one thing that we're going to be tracking this year, which I'll explain to you guys on Monday. I'm not going to give it away right now. But there's another thing I want to touch on too. I just don't think that Morton's going to have to pull out a trick play unless you're in a stagnant game and you're just trying to get some stimulation, get the guys going, change the game, whereas as Dan would go out and start a fight, right, in practice when he was playing, you kind of have to go do something to get that energy level back up. So that's where trick plays, I think, work the best. I do not think the trick plays are, I don't think you just throw them in just to throw them in. I think it's a bad idea. They can really collapse on you. Easy E says 34-21. So it looks like everybody has the Lions winning this game. I'll check raffles tonight. I don't know what they are right now, but I'll check raffles tonight. We've got to be close. I'm sure one of them is already hit, and we'll get it rolling. All right, so one other thing I want to chat on here real quick. So we had an issue with third quarter last year, and you have to forgive my memory, but I don't remember in 2023 if it was as bad as it was last season. And at times last season, we had a better third quarter, here or there. But third quarter, man, you cannot come out of the locker room and lay an egg. You can't. If you are getting the ball in the second half, it got so bad that teams were taking the ball in the first quarter, or after kickoff, or after the coin flip, excuse me. Teams were taking the ball as opposed to deferring and letting the Lions, take the ball and then not get the ball in the second half. They were doing that by purpose. The Lions sucked out of the locker room in the third quarter. And so at some point you're going to say, look, they can't score. So why would we take the ball? Let them go and fail, and then we'll get the ball back and we'll go score. That cannot happen. It cannot happen this year. If you are going to get the ball in the second half, you must score on that first possession. You have an entire halftime, maybe 8 minutes of time with your team after you get through all the BS, guys going to the bathroom. You maybe have 8 minutes at most probably with your team to replan a few things in the second half. Make some adjustments. I do not want to see a stagnant defense or offense anymore in the second half. They need to be able to make adjustments on the fly. We have yet to see it. And I say that from the perspective of what I'm watching when I'm not at the game or even at the game. But what you're watching is running the same crap over and over and over and over. And if it's not working, you still run the same stuff. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, go change the game plan. Do something on the fly. Really good coaches can do it. I know a lot of teams try to stick with their script. They script, about 15 plays to start each game. And if I'm at play 5 and it's not working, why wouldn't you scrap it and go to something different? If your quarterback thinks that something else could work, let him call a play. But you better not stumble out of the gates in the third quarter. Cannot do it. If you do want to get in on the raffles, Brandy Coffee just put a link in. So we're giving away jerseys this year. I am going to put up Isaac Tesla today. I'm also going to put up, who was the other one? A Tate Ratledge. I'm going to put Tate up. Tyleek Williams. And if there's anybody that you want to see in the raffles, every week we're going to add, excuse me. Now you know it's time to go. I'm losing my voice. Every week we're going to add more raffles. So if there's players that you want to see up as far as jerseys, let us know. If there's any memorabilia that you want to see up, let us know. There's going to be some really big pieces going up this year. And it's going to be an entire season raffle. But it's like $1,000 piece of art for the Detroit Lions. It's going to go up. Brought to you by Pro Sports Zone. So that will go up this year. And you guys will be able to bid on it. But it's going to be like an end of the year giveaway type thing. Which, by the way, if we do pull off an away game, bus trip, there's one of those that are given away with your raffle ticket. It's about a $500 piece of art, but those are given away with your ticket to one lucky winner. So you have like a 45-1 chance of winning that piece of memorabilia, which is, you know, an Aiden Hutchinson signed jersey, or an Amon-Ra St. Brown, or a Jared Goff, or a Kirby Joseph signed jersey in a frame. Really, really nice frames. I mean, the frames alone are $300-400. Okay, if I take a look around the league here, everyone has, or a lot of people have, the Lions winning 27-23, 30-25, 27-24. Some people have the Packers winning 25-22, 28-24. Overall, I still see this as like a 27-24 game. But I'm going to go a little bit less than that. I'm going to go 27-21 Lions win. 27-21 Lions win. That is my prediction. It gets us a little bit outside of where I want to be as far as the points per game, but this is the first week, man. The defense is probably going to have to learn a few things about themselves. And if they can bottle up Jacobs, then this could be a 27-14 game. So got to control Jacobs around the goal line. 3 straight wins at Lambeau, 62.5% career completion percentage versus Green Bay for Jared Goff. The Micah Parsons debut, we don't know how that's gonna help or hurt. The Aiden Hutchinson return, we don't know how that's going to help or hurt. The offensive firepower, the Vegas lines, you name it. It's going to be a clash on Sunday. We'll see you there. And we'll see you guys later on tonight. So you guys have a wonderful day. Go One Pride, go Detroit Lions. We'll catch you the next time. Adios.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down.